This guy, all of a sudden, he want to come poaching in South Florida. You guys better get your shit straight in your own backyard first.
Excuse me. Hey, man, let's
You
just
guys
roll with
better.
the program.
Yeah. What's good? What's good, fans? We got tonight, boy. We got an explosive show tonight. We got a lot to talk about, man. Voice of the fans. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got a lot to talk about. As always, this is your man Cam down in Southern California. Got my man Cleavon in the Northwest. It's still sizzling up there, huh?
Sizzling, man. I am baking in this room right now, man. It's 87.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, Cleavon, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about Team USA. Got smacked around by France, and then they turned around and did the smacking around. It's about time we saw kind of what the potential of what this team could be. Now they have to carry this out. We're going to talk about if they can. Well, Cleveland, I'm going to give you a chance to talk about your Lakers. I don't like talking about the Lakers, but since you want DeMar DeRozan, since you want Dame Lillard, since you want Kyle Lowry on your team, we're going to see actually which one of those players will be the best fit for your team. And whoever else you want, Bradley Beal, you want to throw Bradley Beal in there, you want Jason Tatum in there, you want to get Zion in there. We're going to actually talk about who fits best on your team. Or you want to go back and get Lonzo, somebody you traded away. I don't even know why he would want to come back to the team, but we're going to talk about
did trade him for Anthony Davis, so I think that worked out well for the Lakers. So
did it really? Did it really? What you guys do last year?
They did get a championship last year, right? Did they get a championship?
I mean, that was the bubble. That was the bubble. That was an asterisk.
Wow, that was the bubble. Is that going to be your answer going forward?
That was an asterisk.
That was the bubble.
You guys didn't repeat it. You guys barely made the play.
Had some injury issues, very similar, and no disrespect, Mr. Ballmer. No disrespect, but very similar to what the Clippers went through.
Yeah, no, but
I'm not mistaken.
The Clippers went to the conference finals. The Clippers were in the conference finals. Oh. We made it past the first round
for the first time,
and we weren't in the playoff tournament.
That's not similar to 17 championships.
The Clippers were. I mean, so you're talking about
no disrespect, Mr. Ballmer.
Now you want to talk about?
I'm just saying that's not the same.
George Mikan and you want to talk about these other cats? I mean,
okay, so we'll take the Mikan. We want to take the Mikan one out, so that's 16.
What you talking about? You talking about? Who's talking about
Magic's got 5, Kobe's got 5. There's 10 right there, right?
Did they play last year? Did Magic or Kobe play last year? Exactly. So stop bringing
that wasn't really your point, but let's get to the show, man. I see you're kind of fired up, Mayweather. Man,
we got a lot to talk about. We talking about we got the AFC South predictions that we're going to give you guys. We're going to talk about the top fantasy defenses. Again, this is the last fantasy talk for the next month. Because I can't give away the secrets. Cleveland's already getting nervous, folks. He's already getting nervous, and you're gonna see he has his pencil and pad already right there, ready to go. As soon as I say something about a fantasy squad, he's writing them down. He's trying to. I can't give him too much more.
Don't need it, fans. Don't let him fool you. I can't give him
too much more. As always, we're gonna talk about this day in history. So get comfortable, fans, because we're gonna do this right now. We got a lot to talk about today. But as always, every time we start the show, this is July 28th, 2021. Football season is around the corner. Football season is right here. In fact, training camp started today down here in Southern California with the Chargers and the Rams also. It's week 149. So when we look at the date, we look at the week of number of the show, we come up with some numbers. When you think of the number 28, who wore that jersey best, or who first come to your mind?
Well, Cam, who comes to my mind first is Corey Dillon, 206 native, Franklin graduate, University of Washington participant. He wore the number very well. That's the first person that comes to mind. Who probably wore it best is probably that Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, Marshall Faulk.
Okay. Corey Dillon, actually, you don't short him now. He had the rookie rushing record.
That as well
for the Bengals, just ran all over the Houston Oilers. It was Houston at the time. Ran all over 300 something yards that night.
That was tremendous.
Very impressive. First person to come on my mind when I think of the number 28. Man, I go back to Chuck, man. Kurt Warner, that running back.
Good call.
Kurt Warner
like
was
that.
Nice. Kurt Warner was nice. The best to do it though was Marshall Faulk. I mean, I can argue with anybody. Marshall Faulk was the best running back in the game, but Kurt Warner was really nice. I really like Kurt Warner's game, and too bad. I mean, he played in the '80s, blew out his knee in '86. Today, that's you're ready to play next season. Back then, your career was essentially over. So if he had modern technology, maybe he could have played another 5 or 6 years in the league.
Sure.
But he had to start and stop, the little hesitation, little hezzy move that cats you don't see a lot of cats with that little hezzy move when he gets out in the open, just kind of give you a little hezzy and keep on going at his same speed, doesn't lose a step. It's very impressive. Number 49. Number 49, it's really only one person for me when I think of number 49. And that was a cornerback for the Minnesota Vikings, Joey Browner. Like, big cornerback.
So Cam, is that a 4.9 or a 4.7? I remember JB being a 4.7.
Joey Browner was a 49. He was a 49, if I'm not mistaken. I'm almost positive he was a 49. I mean, 49. But for the Vikings, bro, he was you're right. Good call. He was 47. He was 47. So okay, well, good call, Mr. Cleveland. He was still nice as hell. By
Absolutely.
the way,
tone setter.
Yeah, big cornerback in the mode of how you guys like him up in Seattle. But so we'll go Bobby Mitchell. Long time Redskin. One of the scat backs, if you will, before there were Scott backs. We'll go Bobby Mitchell. How about you?
The first person that comes to mind, man, is Julius Peppers in his dominant times down there at the University of North Carolina, playing football and basketball. That's the first person that comes to mind. Probably the person that wore it best is, like you were saying, Louisiana Lightning, Ron Guidry, a Cy Young and a World Series. That kind of adds to the pedigree of the number.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's not bad. Hey, man, so let's jump right into this NFL topics, and we can't go any further. Number one, let me pat myself on the back. I told you week 1, Aaron Rodgers was going to be in a Packers uniform. I said that weeks ago. I didn't expect him to show up in training camp, first day of training camp. I didn't expect that. I expected him to kind of play around, hold out, use his clout, use his leverage, and show up the first week before the game. And we all know he don't need a whole lot of practice, but he showed it. He came into camp. He came into camp with double barrels, guns blazing. He couldn't wait to get to the microphone and let them guys know what was on his mind. He was on a Jeopardy. He do the Jeopardy for a couple
Certainly
weeks.
did. Was the guest
goodness.
host of Jeopardy? Yes.
Oh my goodness, he came back with a catalog of memorabilia for the Packers fans and the owners and everybody. He had a list of all the players that they disrespected for the time being. He had a list of what he thought they didn't do right, what they didn't do right, and it was just like he was running Jeopardy out there. You got a question? Here, let me tell you about this. You got something what they didn't do right, what I didn't like? Let me tell you about this. Have we heard anybody call out the front office like this before for a team that he's still on the team? Now we've seen some people go get out of the back door and then have something to say about the team, but he called out the front office and he's getting ready to go play on the squad this year. Can you recall that when he's done that? Anybody who's done that?
Well, Cam, first and foremost, let me just call out you were 100% right in your prognostication of what was going to happen in this situation. I was 100% wrong. I did not think that Aaron Rodgers was going to play for the Green Bay Packers ever again. So the mere fact that he's in training camp and they're in talks and negotiations and still, trying to smooth feathers.
Yeah,
crazy, amazing. But no, you've never seen a team that calls out their entire front office and gets away with it. But at the same time, when's the last time the MVP of the league has been in this position and somewhat flexed his muscles a little bit? We all live in the world of social media now, so it's a completely different environment. And comparing it to what people have done in the past it's just it's a lost cause.
Yeah, I mean Brady. I mean, did this speak to how cool Tom Brady is because he didn't go this route. He just
No, Tom Brady was not in the same situation. Tom Brady was in a situation where he was a
he
free
was
agent after this season.
no,
He
but he
was
wanted
not
out.
locked in for years and years and
Okay, fair
years.
enough, fair
And
enough,
he
fair
was
enough,
not in a
fair enough,
situation
fair
where
enough.
he had discord with the ownership or management. Yeah, I mean,
Well,
him and
discord
Bill
with the
were kind of
coach,
tied at
no?
the hip. Bob Kraft,
You know,
Uncle Bob,
there
right?
there was no discord with the ownership. There
No.
was no discord with the ownership, but he wanted to get away from Bill, kind of prove that he can do it without him. So,
And he proved that talent prevails over coaching. That's a
well,
conversation for a different time. Conversation for a different
let's
time.
slow down there. Let's settle down now. Settle down. But
See?
he was able to. He set out to prove what he wanted to prove, and so that was the discord. But Aaron Rodgers came in there blazing, guns a blazing. He just had a list of players, everybody he felt that was disrespected, all the wrong turns and all the wrong decisions that the general manager or the organization has made. And this brought me to thinking, if there was one owner of the team, would this happen if there was a one singular owner of the team? If it wasn't a jointly owner or a community owned team,
Absolutely, it would, because his
do you think
discord and
so?
his differences with the organization doesn't have to do with ownership necessarily.
But
And one solid owner adverse it being
but
owned
what
by the community, I don't think would make any difference in his particular stance and opinion on how the organization's being run.
But what I'm saying is he could have went and addressed his concerns with the one owner and said, "Hey, look, this is what I don't like. This is what you guys are doing. Here's the missteps that happened." Versus there's nobody when it's a community owner. There's no one to address. The general manager's handling everything. It's not one person that he can go to that he can call and say, "Hey, look, this is uh, as the MVP of the league. Here's what I think should happen." As there's nobody to address. He has his coach and the general manager.
Well, I
So
suppose if you're saying that there's no one singular person to
yeah,
address, if you have to go over the general manager and
yeah,
the
exactly
president's
what I'm
head,
saying.
then yeah, that's correct.
Exactly what I'm saying. And so where things are very different, that might be the reason that he felt that emboldened to go and lay it out like that because there's not one phone call he's going to get. He already doesn't want to talk to the general manager. He's going to make do with the coach. The coach is kind of going to, as they stated already, kind of going to do what he likes, acquiesce to what he wants anyway, because they want him playing on come week 1. So he's going to the coach is going to acquiesce to him. So that emboldened him to go ahead and have this conversation and let the media know, let the world know, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. Here's what the misstep the management front office has made. And if there was one singular owner could say, either he could have had that conversation, um, or they could have squashed this months ago. Well, because there's not that person, he felt emboldened. Well, who's going to call me? Who's going to call me into the office? Is it going to be the GM? And once I lay this out here, the GM doesn't have a leg to stand on, right? So now I think he's just brought all of Pac Nation kind of behind him. So we'll see what's going to happen. We'll see if they're going to get Devontae Adams is going to get a new deal after all this. We'll see how things are going to land. And one thing he did say, he did mention Clay, the receiver for the Steelers. Instead of drafting Jordan Love, he should have done
Chase
Claypool.
Claypool,
Claypool. I mean, how would that look? Devontae Adams and
explosive.
Claypool on the offensive line. I mean, the Packers, to his point, the Packers kind of ran that organization. I would say ran the organization. They got that Cam Newton-itis when Cam was in Carolina. Like they just didn't refuse to get him some help on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, there was one year where they had 7 draft picks. All 7 draft picks went to the defensive side of the ball. They drafted 4 cornerbacks and with 3 defensive linemen. That was one year. They just refused to get him some help on the offensive side of the ball. And, to his point, that's what happened. So we'll see if Devontae Adams get his new deal after all of this. But, man, I'm saddened. I'm saddened by this. To even have this conversation. NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Led the league led the NFL in interceptions last season with double digits. Only cornerback with double digits in interceptions. Is the second highest paid cornerback on the Miami Dolphins squad. So what this tells me, and if I had my skills were better on Photoshop, the number 25 would be in a Houston Texans uniform or in a Green Bay Packers uniform by week 1. Because there's that guy in Green Bay. I know South Florida can treat a little bit better. And there's a guy in Houston that Houston is trying to ignore. They're trying their best to ignore the situation. They're trying their best to act like nothing really happened. There's nothing to see here, folks. But number 4 is just sitting there just like just like the star. It's a 4-leaf clover, just bright as everything on the football field. They don't even want to look in that direction. They don't want to see the 4-leaf clover. They don't want nobody to step on it. They might as well put banners around it, just like stay off of this portion of the field. We're not going to touch it. We're going to act like it's not over there. It's not even here. So Miami Dolphins, I hate that we have to address it, but clearly we're not going to pay that guy. And this is when I have to go. I might have to go put in a call to Stephen Ross. Stephen Ross, look here. Nobody has done what he's done. We need to give the guy some more money. But I have the Stephen Ross is going to say, coach, he's going to say, Cam, the coach is saying, we, not me. Team, not I. And considering his track record, we kind of have to listen to that for another season. But I fear after this season, we're going to lose the guy. So here's what I'm willing to do, Steven. We package him, the quarterback we drafted last season, and we send him to Houston. One of our draft picks, we get him a number 1. So they now not only they get a top flight defender, a number 5 draft pick. Give us number 4, and let's go on about our business. So they get a number 1. They get the number 1 draft pick from last season or 2 seasons ago, and they get the number 1 quarterback. And then we're gonna have to make do. We're gonna have to play more. We're gonna have to outscore you, and we can't count on our 10 interceptions. And let's go ahead and get Deshaun Watson in camp, and let's make it happen. What do you think about that trade?
Hey, Cam, couple of things. So what's not going to happen is you're not going to get Deshaun Watson. You're not going to get Aaron Rodgers. You're going to start the season with Tua Tagovailoa in the second year of his maturation process to becoming a franchise quarterback. So that's what you're going to get. In addition to that, you're also going to get a holdout from Xavien Howard for the first 5 to 7 games of the season because he wants his cheese. He saw what, Keel Griffin got over there at Jacksonville. I mean, kind of egregious, right? So he knows what he's worth. He's not going to get it. But by the time he's missed 5 or 6 checks, he's going to insert himself back into the Dolphins lineup. He's going to have bad hamstrings. He's going to pull his hamstring.
Oh, boy.
So because of the 5 to 7 games that he missed not playing and then not being able to play, down the stretch, the Dolphins won't make the playoffs. It's a tough situation for you guys, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry it had to happen this way. That's just what's going on.
And this is why I propose, because I don't think he's going to hold out.
You can't trade for Deshaun Watson. He's got like 17 rape cases coming. You'll never trade for him.
Hey, stop bringing up old news. Stop bringing up old news.
No.
Stop bringing up.
How is that old? How is that old news? If you want to trade one of the top cornerbacks in the league,
there's been nothing
for a quarterback that could quite possibly be in prison by November.
No, you haven't heard of none of these allegations. He's
and Aaron Rodgers is not coming there either.
He's not due in court till February.
Aaron Rodgers is in camp in Green Bay, you said he would be. So he's not coming either.
However, he's not happy. He's not happy. And
neither one of them is happy. But what does that have to do with them
Green,
being in the 305? What does that have to do with them being in South Beach?
Green Bay would be wise. Okay. Green Bay would be wise.
Green Bay would be wise to try to acquiesce to what Aaron Rodgers is requesting and have him in his career in Green Bay. They would be wise to do that.
One thing that won't change. One of the things Aaron Rodgers said today is guys aren't coming to Green Bay as a vacation destination. This isn't a destination spot for anybody. They're coming here to play with me.
So what?
If you don't want to,
so they're coming there to play football. So what you're saying is when they go to Green Bay, they go to play football, and when they go to Miami, they go to kick it and play some football on the side.
Hey. We got some spots.
I got you. I see what you're saying.
We got some spots.
I see where you're going with that.
We got some spots for Aaron Rodgers to be happy, to find his happiness, if that's what you want to say.
He's already found his nirvana. He's already happy.
He came there some flip-flops. You saw him there, flip-flops, shorts, and T-shirt with the long hair. We got plenty of places that accommodate you.
He's a West Coast kid.
We got plenty of places that accommodate you with that dress code.
He's a West Coast kid. He didn't really like the 305 that much. Too hot, too humid.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
he really care for it.
Again, he flip-flops.
You don't really care for it.
Cargo shorts and long hair. We got plenty of space that accommodate that wardrobe in South Florida. Plenty spaces.
Well, first things first, you already have a franchise quarterback. Work with him. And secondly, try and mend fences and find some other resources to pay that cornerback that's disgruntled in camp.
That's a matter if they do. That's a matter that's our. I have a feeling that the coach. Let me say this delicately. The coach may be a little too stubborn to make certain concessions. And when the player actually has them over the barrel, and most people would acknowledge that you should pay the best cornerback in the league. You pay that guy, you restructure his contract, give him a few million, buy him a car, buy him a house, whatever it takes. You kind of make that guy happy. But I don't think the coach, and what he's going to say is, we don't set precedents of restructuring contract with.
Yes, those Belichick disciples do say that often, don't they?
That's the tone that you're going to get. And that may not be the right tone.
Well, it is 2021.
That's not the right tone. That's not. You don't have 7 championships on your belt. You don't have 8 Super Bowls in your coffer where you can say my way or the highway. You don't have that. You're working towards that direction. You got everybody on the uphill trajectory, which we applaud you for, but you can't really say my way or the highway because we haven't been to the Super Bowl since '85.
And maybe you can trade him to Pittsburgh, playing with Minkah Fitzpatrick for like a 5th-round pick.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm saying.
So you try to
two or three 5th-round picks. You
try to bring up old stuff. Exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about the stubbornness. You know exactly what I'm saying. And you brought up Minkah Fitzpatrick. You know what you're doing by bringing up Minkah. You see you really I'm trying to be nice and cool here. I'm trying to be cool, calm, and collected. And you go ahead and bring up Minkah Fitzpatrick on me. And we're still looking for a safety to replace the first-round safety that we drafted. And you didn't want to pay him when he said he didn't want to play with losers. He didn't want to fly with the tank for Tua logic. So you trade him away. Why do you trade away somebody who says, I don't want to play with losers? I don't want to be a part of this losing philosophy. See, you know what you're doing. I don't even know why I let you bait me into that. I don't know why I even let you bait me into that. Again, the coach may be a little too stubborn, and you just gave me another example of his stubbornness, and to acknowledge that you go ahead and pay this guy. So let's go ahead and package some Chris Greer, acknowledge that our coach is stubborn, package this guy, and let's go ahead and change the fortunes of the team.
Hey, Cam, first things first.
Send him to Houston for number 4. Okay, and then we'll deal with all this legal stuff on the backside. Again, we got plenty of masseuses in South Florida that would love to take care of Mr. Deshaun Watson. Plenty of them, and they're not on IG, they're not on Twitter, and we don't have to go that route. We just
Okay,
hang out.
okay. First
We
things
got
first, Cam.
a
You
house for
shouldn't be endorsing that kind of behavior. Okay, first things first.
Well, everybody needs a
Secondly,
massage.
you
I need a
already
good
have a
massage. I need a good
quarterback
massage,
that
by
you
the way.
already are working with. That is your franchise quarterback. So hey, man, let's stick with the Tua plan.
No.
He's going to be just fine by week 13 or 14.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson's gonna be good week 1.
If he's healthy and he's
Deshaun Watson. You see what you're doing? You see how you keep dropping these little nuggets? You see what you're doing? How about we send him? How about you like this one? We'll give number 25 a first-round draft pick for number 3. Your guy's not happy up there. You guys can't see. Sierra, let me call.
Oh,
Sierra.
hey man, I'm so sorry. You haven't been paying attention. Your phone, you've been blocked from all 206 numbers. That's why you don't really understand. No, everything is
let me get Sierra on the
cream up here.
Let me get Sierra on the line, and I bet
Super Bowl aspirations once again, my friend.
Story.
Not quite sure if you even heard. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's all been smoothed over, my friend.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on from the topic. You got me heated. You brought up Minka. You keep trying to bring up this this other guy, this supposed franchise quarterback.
Franchise quarterback, yes.
Can he stay
healthy? Say his name.
You gave me. He might be ready to go by week 12 or 13. I know Deshaun Watson's going to be ready to go week 1.
Well, hey man,
week 1 he's ready to go.
If he's not behind bars.
What are you talking? You keep want to bring up all this ancillary stuff. I don't know what you're talking about.
There's all kinds of possibilities that there'll be enough information leaked out and given to the commissioner's office that he may not even be eligible.
Innocent until proven guilty. It's all alleged allegations, man. Come on, innocent until proven guilty. This is America. I don't know what kind of laws they have up in there in Seattle.
Okay, well, hey man, it's hard to trade for a quarterback that's got 27 sexual assault allegations hanging over his head. I'm just saying.
Allegations. That's anybody can make up stuff. Like what
27 folks.
What Tupac said. There's a lot of people in jail for lies.
I get your meaning. Yeah, but 27 of them.
Hey, again, we don't have to go on Instagram, Deshaun. Come down to
a 9-figure dude going on IG getting massages. Wow,
come on down.
It's kind of weird, right?
We don't have to do that no more. Let's grow up. We're growing up around here. Anyway, let's talk about your team. I don't want to, since you be just jumping all around the league all of a sudden. You jump all around. We don't know who you root for. Washington football team, Jonathan Allen, 4-year deal, $72 million. 30 million signing bonus? That's just give me the shivers. What'd you think about that deal for Jonathan Allen?
Kind of high. Is not unfamiliar with the way that Mr. Snyder does things. I mean, he overpays. Trying to win now, trying to win today. Worry about tomorrow. This seems like one of those kind of moves.
Okay. I mean, hey. He locks up his guys, so that tell you Chase Young coming down the hill. What's Chase Young gonna get? He's gonna get
40. He's gonna get Chase Young money, Cam.
He's gonna get 4 for 100.
He's gonna get Chase Young.
He's gonna get 4 for 100. My goodness. Yeah. Talking about big money, Broncos go ahead and sign Justin Simmons. He becomes the highest paid safety. What's that mean for Jamal Adams? Why the Seahawks? Why your team playing around with Jamal? Why have you?
Hey man, don't worry about how my team negotiates things.
We talked about this. We talked about this back in June, May or June. Like, why are they still playing? Why is this guy still unsigned? The guy they gave up 2 number 1 for this guy. Why
his agent, his representation. That's what the problem is. His agent is always trying to do a little bit too much. He's always trying to sweeten the pot a little bit more than needs to be sweetened. It's representation on his end. Eventually, the deal will get done.
I mean, we know what the deal is. So he's going to have to become the highest paid safety, right? Are you going to make him the highest paid defender or the highest paid Seahawk at 19 million? Because one guy makes 18.
He won't be the highest paid Seahawk, and he won't be the highest paid defender in the league.
Well, I mean, that's one and the same guy.
No. It's not.
Well, I'm sorry. I take that back. Warner, who just signed for the 19 mil, and who by next week or by week 1 he won't be the highest paid defender.
Yeah, so he's not getting that kind of cheese.
The highest paid Seahawk is
Russell Wilson.
No. Is Russell? Excuse me.
Yeah, Russell Wilson's the highest paid Seahawk.
The highest paid defensive Seahawk is Bobby Wagner.
Highest paid defensive Seahawk player is Bobby Wagner,
who made it clear to me that he's the leader of the squad. I don't know if you remember that interview, but I'm talking
as well. He should be. I mean, there's no one left, right?
I said, hey, Bobby, man, you don't learn from the likes of these guys. Now, does that make you? He said, I said, how do you use this knowledge to go ahead and try to become the leader of the? Well, I am the leader. I don't know if you remember him telling me that. And I said, oh, Bobby, I didn't mean it quite like that, Bobby. I was trying to give you respect, but just to make it clear, I'm the leader of this defense. So Bobby's at 18. So you don't. So what do you give him? 17.9? I mean,
no. You give him $1 more than Simmons got, because you already know Simmons' contract is crazy, and it's not going to be reflective of what the team does production-wise on defense or overall record. But if that's where the market is, and that's where the market is.
But he's asking since he kind of plays. Safety and linebacker position, he should be.
No, man. We already know Jamal Adams is going to have a Bob Sanders-like career when he's out there and killing them. He's out there and killing them, but it will be short.
Wow.
His shoulders are going to give out, bro. You can already see it.
Wow. You just compared him to Bob Sanders. Bob
Sanders was defensive player of the year, right?
1 year, but as you said, when he was out there
killing him, he was out there killing him.
I think he probably signed a 12-year deal and played 4 years, right?
Jamal Adams is going to get his cash. He's going to get the 50 guaranteed. He's going to get all of the bells and whistles.
Okay.
And he'll get it for being the top paid safety in the game. He will not get it for being the top linebacker in the game. He will not get it for being the top defensive player in the game. And they will try and make the contract as short as possible because they understand that the way he plays, it's just not sustainable because his body just isn't big enough to play that way.
So in 2 years, you guys are going to be looking for another safety, basically, is what you're telling me.
In 3 years?
In 2 years.
3 years.
3 years, you're looking for another guy.
You're looking for another safety.
Wow. Okay. I mean, that's how you guys want to run your business. Okay. Strike hard, strike fast, huh? Talking about injuries and talking about guys who kind of who's been there and kind of get the most out of their bodies, if you will. Do you expect to see Saquon Barkley or Joe Burrow play in the preseason games? I mean, both of them coming off catastrophic injuries. You don't want to see them get out there and get some contact, get a little bit. You don't want to see them, call plays against somebody other than their offense, than their defense.
Couple snaps, maybe the dress rehearsal game, but
I mean, what is the dress
not necessarily
dress rehearsal week 2 now because there's only 3 preseason games, not the 4 that there's typically been. So that's a week 2.
I don't think so, man. Maybe give him a series, but I'm not for injuries that were that serious. No.
Okay, Saquon Barkley, no, but what about Joe Burrow? I mean, he's calling offense. He got to run offense. He got to get some continuity with his receivers. The linemen need to hear his calls. And he need to hear his calls in game.
They do that all training camp. Nah, man.
Interesting. So for Saquon, I may not let Saquon touch the ball more than once or twice in the preseason, but Joe Burrow got to get out there. I mean, just for the continuity purposes. I need to see him throw to his receiver, although he has continuity with Chase. But this is a new league here. This ain't LSU. We gotta see what we can do here in the pros. I got to get some continuity going. Top 5 fantasy football defenses for 2021, Cleveland. You want to do that or the AFC South prediction? Which direction you want to go? Top 5 fantasy or
see how you feel about those defenses?
Okay. All right. So you got the Bills, number 1. Is this in any order or is this just top 5?
No, that's the order.
the Bills, and then your football team. Because I mean, I know that's you got a football team shirt on today. I mean, that's the same colors you're wearing over there.
No.
The Niners, you got the Niners number 3 in the league. I mean, that's that. I almost commend you for acknowledging that, because being that they're in your conference, you tend to ignore that talent fairly often. So you got the Bills football team, the Niners, the Steelers, and the Colts, huh? Conspicuously left off your list is the number 1 defense from last season is the Rams. Yeah. What's up with that? Did Aaron Donald?
I don't think they'll be able to replicate their production from last season.
Did Aaron Donald go somewhere?
No, he's still around. He is still lurking around, and he's still going to wreak havoc. Yeah.
Did Jalen Ramsey go somewhere?
Nope, he's still there too.
So what are you talking about?
That's only 2 out of 11. So.
Oh, okay. So when Aaron Donald
players out there running around.
When Aaron Donald was one guy by himself, he was still murdering your.
We're not talking about his performance versus the Seahawks, man. We're talking about overall defenses, top 5 in a fantasy way, right? Was that a fantasy, right?
Yeah. Shut down the
fantasy is not always, means the best defense out there.
All right. So I got Steelers number 2. Football team, I got football team is number 3.
Okay.
And then I got the Ravens and Buccaneers.
Okay. Ravens
is, consistently with a good defense. And then the Buccaneers, obviously, they're going to be playing with a lead oftentimes, and they bring everybody back. So we saw what they could do when they get a little confidence behind them.
Who's the Ravens' best defensive player? Just out of curiosity.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who. That's a team that plays.
Well, it does matter that you couldn't name a player. That's all I was saying. I think that was the point I was trying to make.
Okay, but that is one team.
So you can't name a single player on their defense.
I don't think I actually could.
Okay, but they're number 4 in your
Jimmy.
Okay. So that's a lot of confidence in Harbaugh and the coaching.
There. Yeah,
right?
That's consistently what we've
just
seen
kind of historically what they've been able to do, but not necessarily what they're going to do this season.
Historically,
you can't really name a single player on their defense.
Do I have to? That's a defense.
You should be able to if you have the number 4 defense in the league.
That's a team that plays me, or we.
Can you name a player on Buffalo's defense?
Number 49 is the first guy come to my mind.
I'll help you out. Ed Oliver, he's a beast. Can you name somebody on Pittsburgh's defense?
Oh boy, see how you do. I see where you go.
I help you out. T.J. Watt, he led the league in sacks.
Okay. Yeah, that's not.
Can you name somebody on Washington football team's defense?
Oh boy,
I'll help you out. My guy, Chase Young. Can you name somebody on Baltimore's defense?
Keep going. Well,
I only got one other team. I mean, you came with your top 5. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Again,
I went 1 through 3, and then you have the Ravens at number 4, and can't name a single player on there.
I don't have to. I don't have to name Chris Board or Tyrese Bowser. I don't have to name these guys. I can just tell you that's a team that plays collective defense.
Did you just Google on me in the mid-show? Google on me mid-show.
That's a team that with Khalil Dorsey that plays again. We not me.
Have we resorted to that, to Googling on me mid-show, man?
I mean, I'm just trying to tell you.
Okay.
You ask your question, I have to answer the question.
Next topic.
I have to answer the question.
Fans, I am so sorry.
So
I am so sorry that I grilled him to the point that he felt compelled to go to Google and, reaffirm some of the things that he was saying, that he doesn't really understand why he was saying.
Since he wanted to bang on me about the Ravens as being a top 5 defense, we'll see at the end of the season where they shake out.
Let's do that.
How about that one? How about that?
Yeah.
So AFC South, since you want to give the Colts the number 1 defense in the AFC, I mean that's the only team you name. No, you got a couple of AFC teams. Since you want to name them one of the top 8 defenses in AFC, where's your Colts rank on your AFC South league? Oh, they're not that high. They're not that high. You want to go through your list of AFC South teams?
Yeah, go through that. And I mean, I'm not quite sure how much higher they should be, but go with Go with what I sent you. Yeah.
Well, we both agree that Titans.
Okay.
I mean, the Titans with the
With
strong
Ryan Tannehill at quarterback
well,
and
with
Derrick Henry running the rock. Yeah.
they're
We
pretty
feel
much
like they should win the division. Okay. Who did I say was coming in second?
with Derrick Henry running the rock. Let's just leave it at that. The Colts actually going to come. I got them in second place. I mean, we got Houston Texans, Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, that's kind of the division is top heavy. Okay, the division is top heavy here.
Okay.
Because Texans ain't going to make they're not even challenging for the playoffs, and the Jaguars. I don't know how you have the Jaguars or the Texans. That's interesting. But both of these teams, they're going to be competing for 3 and 4 wins. So if the Texans win 4 games, if Tyrod Taylor wins them 4 games, it's in your boy
Tyrod Taylor wins. I'm sorry. Yeah. Is Deshaun Watson not the quarterback over there?
I thought you just told me Deshaun Watson has legal problems and he's not going to be playing. Now all of a sudden, you got Deshaun
I said he had legal problems, which makes him untradeable.
No,
I didn't say he wouldn't be playing for the Texans until they lock him up and throw away the key, send him to San Quentin. That's not what I said.
No.
What I said was it makes him very difficult to trade.
Once he gets out of town, all that legal stuff goes bye-bye. All those legal allegations, all that stuff goes, all that stuff goes bye-bye. Once he gets out,
you should ask Ozzie Newsome how many trade proposals he had for Ray Rice after that story broke out.
Well, I mean, the different story with Ray Rice was a video of Ray Rice.
Oh, and you don't think video's on the way?
No, we would have seen videos by now. And
would we have?
We would have seen videos by now. I mean, hell, there was a video of your boy Robert Kraft. There was a video of Robert Kraft had to pay for that video not to get exposed.
Videos,
not that everybody wants to see it.
Text messages.
Not that anybody wants to see it.
Phone conversations.
Nope.
They're coming.
Nope. If they were there, we would have seen that by now. If they were out there, we would have seen that by now. But once
not quite just yet, but it's coming.
But once we get it away from Houston, that's all we got to do. We got to get them out of the state of Texas. And once we get them out of the state of Texas, I mean, all that stuff goes bye-bye. There's no – once you come down to South Florida –
okay, don't worry about all that because you have a franchise quarterback down in South Florida. Just work with that, Cam. Don't worry about what Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans are doing, okay? It doesn't concern you.
We're philanthropists down there. We try to.
That doesn't concern you and what's going on in South Beach.
We try to make a good situation.
I feel that by week 13 or 14, Tua's going to finally have his legs underneath him.
Oh, really?
And really kind of understand the offense.
By week 13, he's going to be ready. Week 13 of
week 13 or 14 of next season, it'll all start to click.
Okay. Until then, Deshaun Watson's going to have it clicking in week 2. How about that? When
he'll be in Houston, but yeah.
No, when he's wearing the aqua and marine in South Florida, yeah. The aqua and teal in South Florida, number 4, he's gonna be clicking in week 2. So we don't have to go that far. So, but anyway, I got the Texans and Jaguars. Well, they're gonna be competing for 3 or 4 wins and last in the AFC East. They might be competing for early top draft pick of the league. So the division is top heavy. Titans and the Colts. The Colts, I don't think they're going to have enough with Carson Wentz trying to rebound his career. They're going to have a good defense. They're going to have a good running game. I just don't know if I hate to say it, but Tannehill's going to be the determining factor. I mean,
okay. So, but listen to this. I've heard you. I've been listening to you chat for a little bit. I think that the Jaguars are going to win more than 4 games, bro. I think you're selling them a little short.
3 or 4. I mean, when you say win more, or what are you talking about? Win more? I'm talking about 6 or 7.
I mean, if the over/under is 4, I'll take the over.
How seriously do you mean about that?
Oh, how seriously are you about it?
Jaguars are right at 4 games. I don't think that's very they're right at 4 games.
Okay, I'll take the over. What you got on it?
We're gonna check this over under. We're gonna check this over under.
I got the over. What you got on it?
I'm not betting on no Jaguars and Urban Meyer.
I think they'll be better than 4 and 13. So
Let me see what the over is. Over under.
Oh, I'm sorry, fans. I got him Googling again.
Oh,
He can't just respond and answer. He's
2.5.
Googling again.
2.5. If it's 4, it's 2.5. See what I'm saying? No, I'm good.
Oh, it's 2.5?
Yeah.
Okay, well, 4. Okay.
No.
What you got on it?
You want to put something on it? What you want to put on it? We got we got dinners already. What you want to put on it?
Let me think about what I want to put on it. But yeah, that's a definite.
Let me pull up the sticky. Just so you know, because I can't let this one slide here. I can't let this one slide here because you come up with some crazy stuff. You come up, yeah. I can't over under. We're gonna take that all day. We're gonna take that all day long.
Okay. So you said 3. 3 is over under. Is that what you said?
It's 2.5, but we said 4. You said they're going to win more than 4. That's what you said. They're going to win more than 4. That's what you said.
Okay, but if Vegas is saying 2.5, if I get the 3, then that's over what Vegas is saying.
No. We said you and I said 4.
Isn't that over what Vegas is saying?
You said over and under 4. Jaguars. We're gonna come back and circle. We got a few weeks to talk about that. Jaguars over under at 4. That's what we agreed to. 4 games.
Still not bad at 4.
Cleveland to decide what he owes me.
But if Vegas is saying 2.5, I mean, who am I to go up against?
No, you already did it. You already did. You're all right because you're a wise guy. Because you.
I mean, if 3 is what we're talking about.
No, 3 ain't what we're talking about though. That's not what we're talking about though, fella.
Mr. Magic Fingers, Google.
That's
Googleologists.
That's not what we're talking about.
Mid-show fans. It's kind of weird, right?
No, he hates that.
It's kind of weird.
So we got something going down, fans. This is how Cleveland likes to do. He likes to say stuff, but when I catch him, then he try to go. Well,
I'm just saying. I still feel good about the 4. And in addition, like you're saying, they do play in the AFC South, so I do feel pretty good about the 4. But
I mean, they might be
that's one of those. Let me get through training camp, make sure nobody breaks their leg type thing.
Yeah. We're gonna circle back on that.
We'll circle back on that one.
Circle back on
the
that.
4's not bad. I feel good about it, fans.
Okay, all right. So let's take a little quick break here, Cleveland. When we come back, man, we got some NBA topics. So we got a topic that I think you'll find interesting that I stole from the guys at Hoops and Brews. Check them out, guys at Hoops and Brews. That's my guy Pavi and TPJ, Hoops and Brews, YouTube, HNBmedia.com. Go ahead, check these guys out. They got a lot of great topics, and this one particular topic I thought was really intriguing. And I'll give you a heads up. If you don't know, if you didn't check them out already, the last 2 MVPs have been European players or players not from America, right? Last 3 MVPs. Giannis has won 2. Nikola Jokic won 1, right? Over the next decade, can an American-born player win the NBA MVP over the next decade? Now we got to throw. I threw out a couple names, and when we look at the list, we'll jump in that conversation when I have you. But that's the question: can an American-born player, who would be the next American-born player to win the league MVP? And I mean, if you think about it, that's kind of a tough question to ask because the next guys in line are Europeans or European players or, not American-born players. I should put it like that. So let's take a little break. When we come back, that's going to be our conversation. Let's take a little quick break here. Okay, Cleavon. Give me a couple seconds. What's good? What's good, fans? Thank you guys for sticking and staying with the voice of the fans. We still got explosive content to get to later on today. We're gonna talk about the Simone Biles situation. We're gonna talk about Team USA. We're gonna talk about WSU head coach Nick Rolovich. We're going to talk about him refusing to get vaccinated. How's a leader of a team, a leader of men, just going to refuse to get vaccinated and then dance around the conversations? Did you see the video I sent you? Did you have a chance to check that out?
I did see a little bit of an excerpt from that, yeah.
Yeah, so at Pac-12 Media Day, we had some conversations with a lot of the coaches and get their thoughts on the NIL. So we got some serious conversations going to talk about. I want to know who's been bit by the Olympic bug. If you've been bit by the Olympic bug, let's talk about that as well. Got some changes in college football, Cleveland, that we still need to get to. That's kind of huge. So, but right now I want to talk about the NBA. Want to talk about Team USA. They lost to France. Kind of want to get into that loss, although they did rebound and kind of show a much better showing against Team Iran. But do we count? Let's start with this. Should we count the win against Team Iran or the loss against France? What do you want to pay attention to more?
Pay more attention to the loss against France. It shows more of their vulnerabilities and the things they need to work on. I mean, their win over Iran, was kind of a foregone conclusion, right? So, and if you see the box score, you see a lot more production from Booker, Middleton, and Drew. Those guys were in the finals before, so the team looks a little thicker. They look a little better. Unfortunate loss to France. Hats off to Gobert and those guys, but I don't think that's going to happen again.
So some people want to say that the France team, they have more continuity. They've been together for longer. I want to say that's kind of hogwash because a lot of those players were playing in the NBA just this past season. Gobert playing for Utah.
Not hogwash. And the reason it's not hogwash is because the top players – no, it's because the top players are the top players in that country. And it's not like AAU. It's not like there's just top players all over the place. By the time they get to be that elite, there's a very small handful of players. So they play with each other on their national team all the time. Whether they play actually in the NBA or in other leagues, that's irregardless of what's going on. By the time they're 15, France doesn't have like 200 AAU teams. You know what I'm saying? They have like a team. And they've been playing together forever because that's always been the ballers in France.
Okay, fair enough. But they're playing. It's not like they've been playing together for the last 12 months and up to this month.
No, but that's not what that means. That's not what that statement means.
Well, what do you mean? Will you clarify your
statement? When you say, they have been playing together forever, that's different than they've been playing together on the same team all the time. Of course, they've had, situations where they had to go play in whatever league and then come back, but it's not like it's some weird core group of people that you're just throwing together that never played together. You're talking about the elite players in whatever country they're from, and it's always kind of been that core group. Okay. It's not like a rotating kind of a thing.
So are you telling me? Are you trying to say now that coaching and continuity weighs more than talent? Is that the point that you're trying to make right now?
No, I'm not at all.
Oh, okay.
I was going with your statement that you don't understand the statement that you're making.
Oh, I understand.
And I was just trying to clarify it for you.
I understand what I'm saying. I understand what I'm saying, and I don't know. I'm not sure that you understand what you're saying. And that's what now I'm just trying to look for clarity to help you understand that the way you try to dance around the subject and what you actually, the point you actually said and the point that you actually made is that continuity coaching matters more than just pure talent. That's what you actually said without saying.
I did not say that. Those words never came out of my mouth.
Yeah, because they see
what I said was they have played together for longer by necessity because
Continuity.
it's a finite amount of players that can play at that level.
That's continuity, fans. Okay, and what? Don't because I'm breaking down with what you're saying. Don't clam up.
No, man. If you're talking about France, you're gonna get Rudy Gobert and Nicholas Batum and Tony Parker since they were 12 until they're like 30. And then you'll throw in like 4 other players that can play at that level.
I think they had composite.
If I remember some other players. So yeah, they'll always have continuity because those are the only ballers.
Okay. So America has too many ballers.
You have a different Olympic team every year. You're not going to have a different team every year until people get old and retire. It'll just be the same people that can make the team.
Okay, so continuity matters to that point because these same players are playing together. That's what you're saying. That's essentially what you're saying. That continuity matters.
That's not what I am saying. What I am saying is that the talent pool in those other countries is finite. It's not a whole bunch of people that can ball at that level.
So until Tony Parker retires when he's 40, he's going to be the point guard for the French team for 20 years. That's essentially what you're saying. So every time the France team gets together, they can look at playing with Rudy Gobert, Nick Batum, and Tony Parker. And now that Tony Parker's retired or isn't playing anymore, they throw in another point guard, but that point guard's still been on the team for the last 15 years. That's essentially what you're saying. And so you're saying, so that is continuity matters right there.
Because ultimately the United States talent will prevail. And their continuity won't mean anything.
Did it prevail?
That one game.
Did it lose? Did it prevail or did Evan Fournier?
Pretty sure Kevin Durant's not going to foul out. Kevin Durant's not going to foul out again. And now Devin Booker's over here with us.
Okay. All right.
Not worried.
So you're not, your worry meter is not even, you're not a 1, 2 or 3. No. Because of what you going by what they did to Iran? Beat them by 60 something.
Not because of what they did to Iran. It's because of their talent level.
So that talent level with 4 minutes in the game, they were up by 7 points but couldn't close out. So what were they lacking? Were they lacking the talent or coaching? Which one?
They were lacking the continuity.
Oh, so continuity matters. Look at how you see how we
in that first game, continuity can get you a victory. It will not get you a victory in the gold medal game playing against Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard, all on the court at the same time. It just won't happen.
Okay, all right. Well, I like how you threw that out there and you acknowledge that something that helped them to the win. That's pretty good of you. That's pretty good. So then my next statement is I'm assuming you don't even agree with this. And has AAU ball hurt the USA basketball?
It's hurt basketball in general. I don't necessarily USA. I mean,
it's not hurting. It's not hurting Luka Doncic. It's not hurting.
Sorry. Yes. AAU has hurt USA basketball in general at a lot of different levels. Yes.
Okay. All right. And that's what can you change? So gone are the days that when Team USA goes to the Olympics, as an example, and the other countries want to take pictures and post for pictures and they want autographs, they want jerseys, they want shoes from the United States players. Gone are those days. Right. Now these guys want to come out there and beat America, right?
Compete.
Well, they want to beat them. I mean,
some teams feel like they have a legitimate chance, but most teams just want to compete.
Okay, we'll go with compete. How does America? So the advantage has shrunk. The advantage was here, and it's shrunk to here. The advantage that they had over the world. right?
Great.
It's gone from here to here. Okay,
Somewhere in there, yeah.
the advantage that they had over the world has shrunk significantly.
Yes.
How does America now extend that that advantage again?
They don't.
They're the brand of basketball that America plays is a lot of ISO, pick and roll, 2-3 player basketball, where we see a guy like Luka, we see a guy like um, Jokovic, and the reason that we see them enamored with their game is because they play and utilize all five guys on the court. Jokic could go for, as an example, go stand at the elbow and directing guys to kind of run picks, run rolls, come off screens, and then he's going to hit them where they need the ball and then make a play. Where in America, they want Jokic to go down to get off the elbow, to go down low to the box, and then just make a move and go to the hoop. Where we see Dame Lillard, Kyrie Irving, Steph Curry. Well, that Steph is different. Steph is different in the ways that he can get shots in multiple fashions. We see a Devin Booker limited in their ways of scoring the ball, and then limited in what they can do without the ball. You know what I mean? Where the European players, what we've seen, are able to kind of move without the ball, continue the rotations in the offense, and then get an easy shot somehow. Where American players are struggling with that because they run so much isolation, so focus on so much pick and roll. Can he pick and pop, or can he pick and drop? Whichever one he's doing it over and over and over again, and he's limited his game just to those moves. And we see that play out in the playoffs when a team is able to shut down what you do best and force you to do something else, and then America gets stuck. Where we see a player like Giannis, as ugly as his game was the other night, that he put up that 50 burger, he was able to get to the bucket multiple ways, multiple fashions, right? Do you agree with that statement, or how does America get back to that? Extend their margin? How would you say?
Sound like a true American, Cam, because when you're talking about this argument, you're only talking about four players, two of them being Embiid and Giannis, and that don't really count. Really, what you're talking about is European players, and that's just Joker and Mr. Leanback, Luka. Mm-hmm. You're not really talking about anybody else having that type of impact on the game.
Well, come on. So I watch, as you know, I watch the Clippers closely all season long.
Okay.
We see that I've seen from, and I didn't believe it in the first month of the season. That
do not be bringing me no Zubac talk. Do not be bringing me none of that, man. I'm talking about dominant players in the league.
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to, and hopefully you appreciate what I'm saying. I did not believe that Nick Batum coming off his time in Portland, and then he was sent to
Charlotte,
Siberia of the NBA to play in Charlotte, and
right.
Nobody believed he had any game left after he got the balloon contract from Portland. He actually came and was a key factor in the Clippers' play. It was more like a glue guy, and he was a glue guy because not only he could rebound, he could defend, he can run different plays. He can sit out there, and if Kawhi, and Paul George wanted to do their isolation basketball, they can kick it out to Nick Batum, and he could hit open jumpers. So his game was not just going to the low post, going to the box at 6'9", or sitting out go to the corner waiting for a jumper, going to the top of the key and waiting for the jumper. He was able to make plays in different facets of the game. He was a glue player for the Clippers. Saw this all year long, where his game, because he's been on a team that actually played consistent basketball where they have continuity, and he's able to play other positions on the court, even though he's not a point guard. He was able to play some point guard, even though he's not a center. He was able to play some center because he's been in that position multiple times in his basketball career because of the team that he played on. Where he learned how to play basketball, he learned how to play multiple positions. I'm gonna tell you a story real kind of off the topic. You remember when Luka came in the league and said it's easier to score in America than it is in Europe. Do you remember him saying that?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's why he said what he said. Talking to this guy he's from Serbia, played Serbian. He grew up playing basketball in Serbia. As you know, in different countries, they start early, right? They start their profession early, whether it's mechanic, doctor, school teacher, a lawyer. They start at an early age. They don't. In high school, they start their profession. When we go to high school and we learn general education, they go in high school, they're learning their trades, whether that's NBA, tennis, basketball, whatever they're doing, a lawyer, doctor, as I mentioned. So this guy was a basketball player, and he started playing professional basketball at 14. What they did over in Serbia is they have tests before their games. And you have to learn how to run these 100 plays, and you have to learn what the defense is doing. If you don't pass your test, you don't play the game. So they're being educated on the game of basketball. And it's not just a pick and roll. It's switching. It's stepping out on defense. What do you do in this situation? So the basketball was more fluid there because they're playing all of these positions, as I mentioned that Nick Batum has done. So they learn basketball on a different level than what we do here in America, where we roll the ball out there and say the best talent wins. What you always say, the baddest man on the court is going to be the baddest man on the court. The baddest man on the court is going to take over this game. Well, that works to a point. And what we see now when this Olympic basketball, yes, USA has the talent, but do they have the smarts to play the game? And these Europeans, because they all are smart, they all are educated in basketball. They can, that symmetry that the team shows is able to sometimes supersede just the pure talent that the Americans come with. My question to you is, how do we shrink that gap? You agree that the gap has already shrunk. How do we increase that gap? Do you understand what I'm saying about the testing?
I agree that the gap has shrunk to the extent that it has shrunk to, and it's because the rest of the world has had exposure to how the USA conducts its basketball. So they have a blueprint with which to work off, and they understand their weaknesses and their limitations. But just to make an analogy, if your hypothesis was correct, what you would see is the NBA being flooded like baseball is flooded by Caribbean countries. Like 30% of the league is from Latin America in baseball. If all the stuff that you were saying was correct about European and the world basketball, the league would be flooded with world players. And
what are you talking about?
Not.
Cleveland, what are you talking about? The last 3 MVPs in the league was your players not in America, not from America. Every team in basketball. We can go back to Schroeder's Marshall Lomas.
Name me seven. Seriously, 7 legitimate players from other countries that are NBA MVP caliber. I gave you the 4. You can't name 3 more.
Giannis, Luka,
Embiid,
Jokic. Okay, that's for the best 10 players in the game right now.
Keep going.
That's for the best 10 players in the game right now.
Keep going, Cam. Keep rolling.
If you want to keep going,
keep going.
Now these are
MVP caliber. Keep going. Keep rolling with it, Cam.
Those are for the best.
Keep going, Cam.
Do you want to go Rudy Gobert? That's fine.
Rudy Gobert.
Do you want?
He started crying when he made All NBA third team. You talking about an MVP in the league? They do cry when he made the All third team.
No,
That
I'm
dude
just saying.
cried when he made the All-Star team.
You said you can't. We can't name
And
five.
that's your fifth. That's the fifth player you can come up with.
Cleveland. That's
No, man.
no. Listen,
you got four players at the right time, dude.
No, just listen.
You can't name me a fifth player
I'm
in
not
the whole entire NBA.
I'm not claiming that they're infiltrated with the best. They're going to take over the best.
Well,
spot
so what?
in
A bunch of role players? Yeah. Okay.
That
A
matters.
bunch of role players from those other.
I just gave you an example of Nick Batum, who's
Yeah,
another.
Nick Batum. Come on, man. That's kind of biased, and come on, man. Nick Batum didn't have that kind of impact. You get a little carried away.
Again, you didn't watch it.
No, I did watch. I mean, great. He brought cohesiveness to the team, professionalism. He knows how to play the game. That's great. You can get a whole bunch of players from Europe like that. Absolutely. You cannot get dominant players.
That's what I'm saying. That's what you're getting.
So your list is at 4, and you're done.
No. You're trying to change the argument to MVP caliber players. How many of those
All-Star caliber players? Okay,
All-Star is different.
If you go All-Star, you can throw in Gobert. Keep going.
You're trying to change my argument.
I'll help you. Sabonis. That's 6.
You're changing my argument.
I'm not changing your argument.
Yes,
your argument is whether the rest of the league has caught up to the NBA, and the answer is no.
The rest of the world is caught up to the NBA, and it's obvious, Cleveland, because every single team has a European player on it. Does it not? Every single team has a European player, or when you say a European, I'm speaking not specifically Europe. I'm talking about a non-American player, okay? Non-American born player. Every team has somebody like that on their squad, right?
And 90% of them played hoop over here. Sabonis went to Gonzaga.
At some point,
I'm just saying, Embiid went to Kansas. I'm just saying, you're talking about like there's this factory of hoopers that are going to come out of somewhere else and dominate, and the answer is no, they're not.
So let's lead into the next. Establishing what you just said, I'm gonna have to tell you that you don't believe in this next statement that we're going to be making, and this is what we got from the fellows over at Hoops and Brews. Will there be an American-born player to win the MVP in the next decade? That's not exactly where I was going, but since you want to elevate it to the best of the best, period, and have that conversation right there, who will be the next American-born player to win the MVP? Will it happen this decade?
Well, I guess if we're taking the field, I'll take the United States next year. And the year after that, and probably the year after that.
So give me a name that don't.
Why give you a name? You see fans with Cleveland. You have your Fantastic Four, right?
He's continuing.
You can't name me a fifth.
He's continuously to duck the topic and change the topic. I mean, you are married, aren't you? You are married, aren't you? Is this what you learn when you take marriage classes?
Your conversation.
Did you learn? Do you learn?
Will a player from the United States win the MVP in the next decade? And I said, yeah, next year, the year after that, and the year after that.
And who would that be? Because next year, the guys.
Well, on the other side, there's only 4 players that I have to really be concerned with. We've already discussed that.
The guys in line to do that are Embiid, Giannis, Luka. Those are the guys next in line.
Joker's already won it. So yeah, there's 4.
So who would you say? Tell me who's ready to supersede either one of those guys? Since you say you want to take the field and the answer is yes. Who's in line?
Steph Curry still hoops.
Oh, stop.
Devin Booker still hoops. Dame Dollar still hoops.
And we're talking MVP.
Jason Tatum still hoops.
Not hoops. MVP. You got
James Harden still hoops.
So let's have a conversation.
Haven't even said Kevin Durant yet. He still hoops.
So
haven't even said Anthony Davis yet. He still hoops. Haven't even said Kawhi Leonard yet. He still hoops.
He's injured.
I mean,
We're talking about
there's
next
hoopers
season.
out there from the United States.
Okay, James Harden and Kevin Durant, and that was my argument. Harden and Booker are two of the guys that I say could win it in the next decade. Could thwart that argument. But Harden and Durant play on the same team. Harden and Durant. I had Harden, as you know. I already had Harden as the MVP this season.
Bro, you're a Jimmy Johnson fan, right?
Very much so. Jimmy Johnson, coach of the Miami Dolphins, coach
of the Miami Hurricanes, and the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, that Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay. The MVP of the league next year will be from the United States, and you can write that in big 10-inch letters. Okay.
I'm not sure what Jimmy. Oh.
Yeah.
10-inch letters. Oh man, yeah. My goodness, is that something that we're gonna have to hold on to? Because it's going on the circle back
in
list.
The biggest pen you can find.
The MVP of the NBA will be an American born player, but he don't want to tell me who it will be. The MVP of the NBA will be an American born player. He don't want to tell me who. He's just taking the field. Okay,
and you can take your 4 players and be confident with that.
That sounds like a Daniel's dinner to me right there.
No, please, 2 if you want. I'm willing to go 2 on it. It's up to you. Think about it for a sec.
You willing to go 2?
I'm willing to go 2 on it.
Says Cleveland. He don't want to tell me who, but he says Cleveland.
No, I mean, you got your 4 guys, and you feel confident with your, hypothesis of how the rest of the world is caught up and play NBA hoop and whatnot. And sure, yeah. Giannis, Joel, Joker, and Luka. And maybe if you do enough research, maybe you can come up with a 5th player.
Done. Let's talk about. So we got the draft coming up. Do you want to go into the draft, or you want to go into do you want to go into this fantasy draft picks of your Los Angeles Lakers? I mean, what do you want to talk about?
Let's go Lakers. Let's go Lakers on that.
Okay, we got Westbrook, DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Lowry, Dame Lillard. I mean, your whole team has just been made up. It's a whole team of guards, actually, and you got AD and LeBron. I mean, which one of these guys is realistic, and which one of these guys do you really want?
Really want Dame Dollar, logo Lillard. Most realistic is probably DeRozan.
Lonzo, do you really want Lonzo back?
Not really.
Does Lonzo want to be back?
Oh, he definitely wants to be back. You don't come run with the Lake Show and then want to go to New Orleans for 3 years and then not want to come back to LA. I mean, who's ever done that?
Do you want Westbrook on the team? How would Westbrook and LeBron fit?
He brings that intensity. I don't know, man, how I feel about that one, man. Westbrook's never been able to kind of control his emotions or his game or his ability. Obviously his athleticism is off the charts, but bringing it all full circle to winning a championship is not something that he's shown a propensity to be able to do so far.
The guy who would work best on the squad, I don't think Lillard would work best on the squad because he's had the ball in his hands for 9 years. Now you're gonna take the ball out of his hands and tell him to spot up and be a spot up shooter? He would be better than
who says LeBron isn't willing to concede some ball handling responsibilities.
So you want LeBron to be your spot up shooter? That's what you want?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is
best with the ball in his hands. What are you talking about? LeBron is best with the ball in his hands.
What I'm saying is there are plenty of opportunities for Dame Dollar to be the predominant ball handler on that team. LeBron does not want to be that all the time. And as you know, he's getting older and hopefully playing less minutes.
Is he? I didn't realize that. I didn't recognize that.
I know because of the way he plays, it's kind of hard to really recognize that. Yeah, he is getting a little bit older, and maybe having someone else have ball handling responsibilities a little bit more of the time wouldn't be such a bad thing.
Oh, and he's willing to give that up after.
Yeah, he's willing to give that up for
for 19 years
for
in the
stretches
game.
of the game.
19 years for stretches of the game. For 2 to 3 minutes of each game, he's willing.
That's
to,
not what I said. Stretches of the game. See how you tried to short him. Not falling for the banana in the tailpipe.
So for 19,
I didn't say that.
For 19 seasons, he's been playing best with the ball in his hands, and you say he's willing to give that up for a few minutes every game.
Yeah,
and
stretches of the game.
And Dame Lillard, who's been playing best for his 9 years in the league with the ball in his hands, he's now going to be willing to be a spot-up shooter.
Yes, because Dame's priorities have changed, Cam. I mean, he's been the guy that can go for 50 in a playoff game and lose. He's been the guy that can go for 40 and 45 and 80 and whatever. And it just hasn't come to fruition with regards to an accomplishment. So yeah, he's willing to sacrifice a little bit of what he's been doing over the past decade to sip from the cup of greatness.
Oh boy, oh my goodness gracious. I honestly, I agree with you. I don't think Westbrook would be a good fit. I don't see, because they need somebody who's able to be a spot-up shooter. Westbrook, we know that's not his forte, is spot-up shooting at all. That's probably the worst thing he does is spot-up shooting. Everything else he does would be an advantage, but he too would want the ball. He's used to playing with the ball in his hand. Let's say that. He's used to playing with the ball in his hands. And unless LeBron was willing to give up the ball 100%, that's not going to be a good relationship. DeMar DeRozan, king of the mid-range jumper, he would be the best of the names that I've given you, only because he's able to get his mid-range jump shot off against anybody at any time in any arena. He's able to get that mid-range jumper off. The drawback to him is, can he extend that to the three-point line?
Doesn't need to necessarily.
Well, with LeBron
would be helpful, but no, not necessarily.
Yeah, with LeBron on one side of the post and AD on the other side of the post, by him shooting the mid-range shot, he
just kind of cuts around the top of the key and kind of in that little loop. He doesn't necessarily have to extend it that far.
There's always going to be a defender close enough, though, because
he's got good size, got good ball handling ability. He'll be able to get a shot, and especially as the third option. Cam.
I think DeMar. I think DeMar would be the best guy. Seriously speaking, in all objectivity, I think he would be the best guy. Lonzo, I think, would be the second best guy. Kyle Lowry is old. I just don't know how much he's going to be able to bring you. Lillard would be.
Lonzo Ball is 2 shots better than Ben Simmons. Okay.
Yeah.
Without the intensity and without the attitude, without the defense, without all the rest of that, man. And without the 6'10".
The thing Lonzo does is Lonzo is that ball handler.
So is Ben Simmons.
Well, I mean, you're not advocating for Ben Simmons on the Lakers, are you?
No, I was just making a statement. You were saying that Lonzo's would be a great addition. I'm saying he's like 2 free throws better than Ben Simmons.
Why Lonzo would be a good addition is because he would, if he gets the ball, if he's controlling the ball 30% of the time, I mean, that's not going to be a problem with him. Or you've already stated, you go from LA to New Orleans, he come back to LA. I mean, he's gonna get in where he fits in. He's gonna be he can play defense at his size. He's a little bit more comfortable in the NBA now. He's not coming in as the number 2 pick of the league who's expecting to change things. He's coming in there kind of want to be a part of the team, if you know what I mean. When he was there before, he was the number 2 pick. His jersey was going to be in the rafters there. There was a lot on his plate at the time. Now he's be coming in as I don't want to go so far as to say face, but he's coming in there to kind of reinvigorate his career. And if you can do that next to LeBron, and here's the things that you're going to need to do, is you can pat the ball a few times. You can be a facilitator, which you can do. You can be that catch and shoot shooter from in the guard spot, which he can do. He'd be a lot more willing.
He can catch and shoot, bro. They wouldn't even be talking about all this. He cannot catch and shoot.
He does that. He can do that.
You got him confused with LaMelo, huh?
No.
Yeah. You're talking about the wrong ball.
No.
Lonzo can't catch and shoot, bro.
LaMelo's a ball handler. There's going to be no question.
Yeah, no. LaMelo's the shooter. Lonzo's not the shooter. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So all your shooting talk is
So do we agree DeMar DeRozan would be the best for the squad then?
Of the players that you named outside of Dame Dollar, he would be the.
I don't see Dame being a good fit. I don't see that. You say he wants to. He wants to sacrifice some of his game to fit in. He's tried it his way. He wants to. I don't see that being as even.
But not for very long, because again, LeBron is old. So I mean, it's only going to be like for 2 years.
He's what? LeBron is what?
He's old.
Oh, okay, all right. So is that going to be your excuse next year when they fail again? When they lose in the first round? LeBron's old.
Okay, well, they're not going to lose in the first round. That's not happening.
I mean, they did it this year.
I don't know if you realize, but this is the most rest LeBron's had in his career since he was 18 years old.
No, it's not the most rest, because he didn't make the playoffs before last season, if you recall or not. They didn't make the playoffs. So what are you talking about? All right,
but he did go to the finals the year before that, right? So the rest wasn't quite as long.
At least last year
So you left out that part, right? So he was coming off of playing in the finals and then went to a team that didn't make the playoffs. So he had actually played that additional time. So
no,
it's okay though. I know you don't recollect how this whole thing went down. That's okay.
Mm-hmm. So the guy who's the old guy that you calling him now, he didn't make the playoff. Now he's rested and ready to go.
Well, I mean, we'll see what LeBron has in store for the rest of the league. What he has in his bag. Again, he didn't get very far in the playoffs this year, and he didn't play in the Olympics. That's he often does. So more time to rest and recuperate. Kind of get his mind right, and more time for Rob Pelinka to put other pieces in place to make this.
So let's talk about Pelinka's options. I mean, what else you got? Are you bringing back Montrez? I mean,
there's no promises to anybody. Cam.
How's that working out?
Cam, there's no promises to anybody.
Shooter, are you done with Shooter? Is that experiment over?
I mean, if it was up to me and Magic, it would be. We'd be done with him. But we'll see how the market plays out.
All of a sudden, you don't like the guy. Magic's so fickle. All of a sudden, he's so quick to turn on somebody. Just like he turned his back on the organization, he's so quick to turn on somebody. I can't believe you guys you want to listen to that guy.
To Irvin Magic Johnson?
Yeah.
5-time champion, 9-time finalist, 3-time MVP of the league.
Yeah. The fickle guy.
Quite possibly the greatest point guard that's ever played basketball.
The former Lakers coach who walked away after 17 games. That guy. The former Lakers GM who walked away after a year and a half. That guy. Yeah, who walked away mid-season. That guy. Oh,
the guy that delivered LeBron James.
I mean, come on. Did he deliver LeBron James, or just sit outside his house in Beverly Hills and tell him why it would be good to play with the Lakers?
Delivered. Yes, he did. He delivered LeBron James.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then what? He quit on LeBron. That same guy. He quit.
That was just tension. That was just him understanding. The world has changed, and perhaps he hasn't quite been able to adapt with the world changes and the manner which he needed to in order to be in the capacity he was in. He just couldn't be the Magic Man. He couldn't be Earth.
But that's the guy you want to listen to.
When talking about point guard ability, I'll listen to Magic all day when talking about point guard ability and what Dennis Schroeder's limitations are, for sure. So I saw the same thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
And make no mistake about it, since 1980, Magic has want nothing but the best for the Los Angeles Lakers.
So what is the Lakers have a draft pick? Are they even drafting tomorrow?
Man, what are the Clippers doing, man?
The Clippers have a draft.
Hey, Steve, how you doing, man? Steve, if you're watching, just want to say congratulations. Your success. The direction that the team is going.
I think I just saw him flick you off. Steve don't care about you. Steve don't care about you. What you saying? The Clippers they got a draft pick. They got a draft pick tomorrow. In fact, I just got the email during the draft.
Okay, what are they about to do with that, Cam? Upgrade at what position?
Ooh, they need a point guard. They need a point
Okay,
guard.
well, I guess they're just going to go get the best point guard out there, huh?
But what is
At the
what is
27th pick or whatever they have.
Yeah, that's where they're about, the 27 pick. So it's going to be slim pickings. They got to really do their homework tomorrow. Who do you have going? Or who do you have going? Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, or Evan Mobley? Who's going to be the number one pick?
Everybody says Cade's a foregone conclusion. I wish he was a little bit more explosive.
But Jalen Green is that explosive, though.
What's that?
Jalen Green is that explosion you're looking for.
Jalen Green. I'm not saying that I would take him over Cade. I mean, this is the argument that you're going to have going forward. Do you want the proven commodity that you've seen do a little bit more against better competition, or do you want someone with the higher upside? I think Jalen Green probably has a higher upside. Cade looks like the more polished, developed player at this stage in their development.
Yeah, but against what talent? See, so the way you broke that down is Jalen Green. You said Cade is more consistent, the higher upside, and Jalen Green has explosion. Jalen Green's been playing against the guys in G League is like hungry hoopers trying to get to the NBA.
True.
And he's been performing against these guys. So where I think the NBA is kind of scared about is taking Jalen Green and then him getting off in the league. Because now you're gonna have to acknowledge that the G League, the guys can come from the G League.
I think it's just the opposite. Everybody is scared to go against the unknown because the blueprint has always been to take the best college player available, and then we were taking players that didn't go that route. You're taking players more on their potential and their athleticism. So if Jalen Green really is that dude, having come through your system, it actually gives them more credibility with their system to go through their system. Because here you had Cade Cunningham, he was this in college basketball. Yeah, Jalen Green, he was balling the G League, and he's a way better hooper.
Yeah, I mean,
and so once they're able to kind of establish that that's what they can produce in their development league adverse the development league that is NCAA basketball, why wouldn't everyone go the other direction?
I think it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out, because I think if for whatever reason, taking Jalen Green is going to steer a lot more cats to actually going to the G League. I don't know if that's exactly what they want, because they've always had this
he will quite possibly be the number 2 pick in the draft. That's pretty high, right?
Yeah. But
a year out of really being on anybody's radar, nobody really follows what they're doing in that league that closely, other than NBA executives. Us as regular fans don't really have a lot of exposure to what they're doing. I mean, Cade Cunningham in Oklahoma State didn't get that far in the tournament, but we have ESPN and Fox, and so we got to see 35, 40 games, right? So I mean, that exposure in and of itself doesn't mean anything when you're talking about drafting, but this is the first time you've kind of had that scenario wherein, am I going to take the best player that I see a whole lot, or am I just going to take the player with the bigger upside?
How Evan Mobley, the 7 foot guy out of San Diego, or out of USC, who actually went to USC rather. Saw him play. He was, when they knew he was going to be a high pick in the NBA. He didn't just jump off I went to a couple of USC games. He didn't just jump off the court to me. I mean, you saw talent there, but he didn't just. He can do everything and nothing great. And at 7 foot 220, I mean, that's kind of what you need. I mean, he's going to be in the box. He's able to shoot a jumper. He's able to put on moves. He's able to block shots. He can do a lot of things, but just nothing great. Are you more interested in Evan Mobley if you're Houston, or the Jalen Green?
Jalen Green.
With Houston with the number 2.
Jalen Green.
And why is that?
Because you'll regret it forever if you miss it.
Well, why wouldn't you regret that if you're Detroit?
Because Cade Cunningham is supposed to be that dude, and everyone is saying the second coming of Grant Hill. So you're not taking nearly as big of a risk taking Cade over Jalen as opposed to taking Evan Mobley over Jalen.
Mm. Well, I think Houston has a potential of being if they get Christian Woods back healthy, and provided he comes back healthy. You pair Jalen Green with your boy from Rainier Beach,
Kevin Porter Jr.,
who they try to make a point guard there. You throw in they need a
still have
JJ
John
Redick.
Wall to do something with, right? So they have some pieces over there.
You trade John Wall. John Wall shouldn't be a part of this team.
Wow.
He shouldn't be a part of the
traded Westbrook for him. So
you trade him for JJ Redick if you can get him. You trade him for you trade him for since what you call it's on a block. So I'm having a brain fart right now. The guy from Utah, Bogdanovich or Joe Ingles, either one of those. If you get one of those guys,
no, you can't trade John Wall to Utah. That's not going to work for anybody. Sorry. I'm trying to be proactive here, Cam. Yeah, that's not
good. But you want Joe Ingles or a Bogdanovich on that team with these guys, with these other slashers and playmakers. You need to get them jump shooting Caucasian on that team to help those guys out, to help make sure that floor gets spaced, to kind of give them just a settle them down just a little bit more because that's what they're going to need. In all honesty, they're going to need the guy to spread the floor, and they can count on getting some cash buckets from the outside. So that's what they're going to need. And it'd be interesting to see. We'll have our eyes glued till tomorrow night and see what's happening in the NBA because until they'll have some free season talk, but until I guess Summer League, we won't be able to see anything in the NBA to how these teams play out. And let you know, the Lakers do have the 22 pick, and the Clippers have the 25th pick. That's the one pick for both of these teams that they have. Neither one of these teams have a pick in the second round, so they only have one pick unless they make some moves. I mean, will they be on the horn? Will they be trying to make some moves? I'm not sure that the Lakers have a lot to trade with, but then it'll be interesting to see what the Clippers do. Oklahoma City is a wild card there because they have the number 6 pick, the number 18 pick. They also have the number 34 pick and the number 36 pick. So they're going to be the wild card, and let's just say that they're going to have the number 55 pick as well. So they have 5 picks of the top 55 picks in the draft tomorrow, and I doubt that they select 5 players. So there's going to be some movement with these players for sure. How they move around, where they move around is going to be interesting. Let me take that back. The Oklahoma City Thunder has 6 picks tomorrow. They have the number 6. They have the number 16. They have the number 18 pick. And then they go to the second round for the number 34, 36, and then the 55 picks. They have 6 picks tomorrow. And once again, I doubt they take all those picks. I doubt they pick 6 players tomorrow to join their squad. But they are kind of the dominant team drafting for the next couple of years because that's how they built their franchise. So we'll see how things transpire. Cleveland, let's take another little break here. When we come back, we're going to get into this week in history, and then we're going to talk about the college football, and then we got some Olympic discussion for you, Mr. Cleveland. So let's take a little break here.
Get 45 seconds for me?
Yeah.
Can I begin to tell you how hot this room is on the third floor, my friend?
Yeah, look at you. Look at you. Is a little warm up there, huh?
87 on the third floor, yeah.
Open them windows up, man. You trying to get the penthouse
You
view.
think they're not open?
All right, let's get into this. Let's get into this talk right now. Let's jump into this college football talk, man. Oklahoma and Texas just joined the SEC. So before I went to media day on yesterday, Tuesday, heard a couple stories about it becoming a Big Ten and SEC league. Actually, it was kind of funny. I do remember when it was a Big 8, and then it became the Big 10, and now it's actually the Big 12, right? And then SEC absorbing Oklahoma and Texas, and it might be a North and the South football league. That's kind of the understanding I got. It's going to be a North and the South, and 2 leagues, 2 conferences, 30 teams apiece, and then everybody else is going to be competing for the NIA or the AA championships. That was until I went to the Pac-12 media day yesterday. What do you think? Let's start with what do you think of this Oklahoma and Texas going to SEC? What do you think about this? And are Oklahoma and Texas kind of, let's say, punking out? That's not the right word. Are they just going for the easy money of the SEC?
I think that Oklahoma and Texas has looked to their right and said, those guys are real serious about football all the time, and so are we. And I'm not so sure about these other guys in this conference. And I know how much money that we can make if we go that way and be on that national stage all the time. I mean, watching a move like that kind of made me think, why doesn't the SEC just secede from college football altogether and just form their own league? I mean, really, I think they could get 20 teams deep there and just rotate it around, man.
Just succeed from the NCAA.
SEC football is different, man.
Okay, well, they need to play with somebody else. I mean, so they're gonna have their own.
No,
SEC
man,
championship?
they are where they have 16
own
teams now.
Yeah, so they're gonna have their own SEC championship, or who they're gonna play for the SEC championship?
Yeah, man, they will have their own SEC football league, and they'll just play each other, and they'll have like a league, man.
So
they'll just.
So what happens when they play their 12 games, and then at the end of the year, are they going to? They're going to.
I mean, are they? I mean, if they made their own league, are they even beholden to a 12-game season? They can make their own rules. Well, this is what they want to do, anyways.
But okay. So Cleveland, let's talk about it. If they did that, they're leaving money on the table by saying they don't want to be part of the college.
They're leaving no money on the table. They'll just make those SEC conference. They'll just make those SEC television contracts just that much more lucrative. Pull all the schools from Miami. Pull all the schools from Georgia. Pull all the schools from Alabama. Pull all the schools from Mississippi, Texas, Oklahoma.
So it's all going to be the Southeastern Conference League, period. And
I mean, isn't that the next progressive step with all this? I mean, otherwise, why wouldn't just any team that wanted to?
A North League and a South League. Are you just saying? So what do you do with New Mexico? What do you do with Southern California, UCLA? What do you do?
So you're getting this all wrong, Cam. No, what I'm saying is that the SEC looks like it potentially could evolve into an entity all of its own. So the rest of the country doesn't really make any.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying. You're saying just take all those teams from Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi to Texas. All of those become one football league. I get you. I understand you. So you play 13 leagues. You establish a SEC champion. After 13 weeks, you have an SEC champion where they have a 4-team playoff at the end of it, right? Now that one team is the champion. So the rest of America, between UCLA, UCLA, USC, Stanford, Oregon, Washington, Michigan, Ohio State, Northwestern, Penn State. Who else? Who am I leaving out? Rutgers, West Virginia.
Yeah, but Cam, that's a whole other league.
No, I understand. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. So the rest of these teams, let's just say they play two divisions. They have two. They break out to the east, to the west coast, to the Midwest. That includes Colorado, and then you go to the East Coast. Everything east of there, Illinois, Northwestern, Michigan, Ohio State, all the way to Rutgers, Syracuse, as far south as North Carolina, and everything include everything in there. Okay, now they have their 11, 12 games. They play for their conference championship. Now they're playing. Michigan plays Stanford. Michigan plays Washington for their championship. So now we're going to have Washington, the winner of Washington and Michigan plays for a championship. So we have 70% of the country claiming that the winner of Michigan and Washington is one champion. You have the SEC champion, whether it's Alabama and Florida State or Alabama and Miami, who's played for their championship. Now we have two teams standing. Are they going to just play two? Are they going to play? That's another bowl game. That's another bowl game. That's another revenue stream. Who's going to say no to that?
It's a whole other league, man.
That's what I'm saying. So you're saying if the ACC was to break things out as we just discussed and leave the 70% of another country, of the rest of the country, to develop these 2 to 3 leagues, however leagues they come up with, however they break it down. But now they have determined their championship on December 31st. SEC is determined their championship on December 31st. So you're telling me nobody's going to pick? No, they're not going to be interested in playing in the Cotton Bowl, in the Big Horseshoe, in Pasadena, the Rose Bowl. They're not going to be interested in playing another game for $15 million apiece.
That's those other guys will have nothing to do with the SEC.
I understand it won't have anything to do with the SEC. You're telling me the SEC is going to turn down this $15 million more dollars for a game, $15 to $20 to $25 million? Who knows how big that game could be? I'm with you right up until you say they don't need it. That's where I don't think you're accurate, and that's where I think now because that would be the situation if it broke down how you want it from Texas to Florida and South. They have their own league. If that's the way they broke it out, when it comes down to that championship game and the Rose Bowl says, okay, we have $15 to $20 million for the winner. Fiesta Bowl, the Horseshoe in Ohio State. They say, here's another $15 to $20 million for you guys to play one more game. What do you mean they're not going to play that game? They're not going to say we don't need it. That's not who
going to want to establish themselves as the superior league, Cam. They don't. And
that's why they're going to. That's why they're going to play the game. That's why they're going to play that game because they're going to want.
They don't need it.
They're going to want it to just establish themselves. They're not going to want Michigan or Washington, Ohio State, Southern California to say that we're also national champions. They're not going to want that.
No, they are national champions. They're just not SEC champions.
I like what you did there. I like what you did there. I don't think they're going to leave that on the table. So, I mean, we just kind of discussed the next question. What does that mean for college football? I do see a breakout like that happening, and you're not wrong in what you're saying. I do see a breakout similar to that fashion, but I think it'll be. I'm thinking maybe a 4-team. Either if it doesn't go Northwest college football, North college football South, and they have the collection of 60 teams, whatever it is, 40 to 60 teams, because we know all the big schools are going to be in them. The Washington State may not be in that group. They just may be asked out. The Oregon State may not be in that group. They just may be asked out, playing for the Division II or the NAIA champion, or with North Dakota State, as with Iowa State, with Idaho, those type of schools are all going to be asked. They're not going to be part of this 30-team two division league. As we can see, New Mexico State won't be a part of it. Alabama State. What is it? What's Florida school that just came in was in Orlando. Damn, why am I having a brain fart? UCF. They're not going to be part of the Florida, Miami, Florida State a duo that joins the SEC. They're not going to be part of that. Neither would Wake Forest. Neither would your school that where did Megatron go to school?
Georgia Tech.
Yeah, neither would Georgia Tech. So it's going to be only these large schools, right? There's no SMU is not going to be part of this the mega conference, right? It's going to be 2 mega conferences, including all of these major schools.
Maybe not 2 mega conferences. I mean,
that's what I expect. That's what I expect.
Well, I mean, we'll see. First things first. Let's see if the first one gets constructed, and if they decide that they just don't want any more to do with the NCAA and college football on that level, and they just want their own thing, and how serious they are and committed to doing that.
And the way that's going to happen is if when these, they're going to go down to these major Fiesta Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, the Rose Bowl, and say, okay, can we get a deal going that we play our national champion? They're going to work backwards. They're going to go to those guys first, and would you pay for this national championship game, and then back it out of that, and then schedule their 10, 11 games that way. That's how I would see it break out. But that's a lot of work to be done over the next few years. And there's a lot of work to be done on this NIL thing for college athletes. Now, I sent you a video or two with these players talking about the NIL. I actually like the guy from your alma mater. Well, I'm not sure you went there, but the guy from the school down there that plays in Montlake that wears the purple and gold as well. Jimmy Lake, who says when I asked him about the NIL and how that impacts his team, he's like, well, first you got to win. You got to win on the field. If you don't win on the field, nobody's going to want to buy anything that you guys are promoting or endorsing. So you got to win on the field. And I thought that was simply put the best explanation I got from most of the coaches when I asked them about how NIL impacts their squad. From Chip Kelly to Clay Helton Chip Kelly at UCLA to Clay Helton at USC. I think Jimmy Lake gave me the best answer. It's like, first we got to win. Nobody's going to want to talk to you if you don't win. So we got to do that, and we got to make sure the players understand that you got to win first before you can worry about your endorsements. What's your thoughts on the NIL? I know we talked a little bit about it last week. I know if you've seen the interview with Sean Merriman, he says like it's not really enough to change lives of these college athletes. But what's your thoughts on this NIL and the coach's response?
Yeah, again, I mean, careful what you wish for, right? Genie can't be put back in the bottle at this point. And we don't really have a track record with which to go on. So I think what we're going to see is a lot of people get tremendous endorsement opportunities early. And then we'll have to kind of see that whole cycle play itself out over a 2 to 3 year span. And I think that other businesses and companies will be very cognizant of how the return on the investment actually was. In addition, as we spoke about previously, I think it's a tremendous opportunity for previously money that was paid under the table to just be very, upfront and honest with you. Suddenly your kicker, not the, most popular guy on campus, is, sold $50,000 worth of shirts. Who would have thought, right? Suddenly you're, a lineman that was just getting those manila envelopes. Wow. You don't got to do all that, man. Just, sell me some socks with your number on it, your signature. Hey, I'll buy 5,000. You get that kind of, opportunity, but how it will actually translate into dollars and cents and how these players will feel. This is the part I'm a little bit concerned about. How are they going to feel like when one year they're making $1 million and the next year they're making like no one wants them because they missed a shot or fumbled on fourth down? It's like, how's that going to play out for a 18, 19, 20-year-old? I mean, in this era of social media, how are they going to be able to handle that? Is that going to be a factor within the market that they're in?
Another example to that very point. Another example. I don't remember who the coach was. I want to say maybe it was either David Shaw or the coach who coaches at or not Arizona, the other Arizona school.
Arizona State is Herm Edwards.
Yeah, the other one. That's what I'm saying. The other, I know Herm, but the other Arizona school.
Arizona, someone just got fired. I forgot their name.
Yeah, he actually used to coach at UCLA too. That I forget his name, but it was either David Shaw or this other coach. I remember it being a black coach specifically, who says, to your point, well, we got to get there first, and the players have to establish that they are winners. And again, kind of alluding to the same point that was made earlier, nobody's going to want you if you don't win. So the players got to establish themselves as winners first, to that they can make somebody some money, and also that this is a precursor to what life is about. Like, some of you guys have been, and you use this example, some of you guys may be in jobs where you work harder or do more work than the other person, but they make more money than you. And you can't really go to your boss and complain about it because it's not going to change anything. You have to work harder, find your opportunity to kind of improve your value, improve your worth. That's life. I mean, we have to deal with that in life. And that's a early example of kind of how they can make do with life, period. So that gives them another example of what life is about, right? And that was real deal. That kind of hit home. It was like, oh yeah, I mean, you got a point there. We've all been in that situation where we worked harder, or think we deserve something, but yet somebody else is making more money for doing some, if not less, work than we are doing, or as good of a job that we're doing. So that's a situation that you kind of have to accept and kind of figure out how to navigate through that, just on a personal level. But they're all good points. They're all good points. I think it was great conversation. We're going to see how this plays out. Obviously, all of this is new. So Nick Saban brags that his guy hasn't played it down in college football, already have $700,000 lined up for endorsements. But was that Nick kind of using his recruiting scheme by saying this is how much Alabama's worth? But is everybody worth that, or is it just an Alabama quarterback? Who knows? But was that truthful in what Nick was saying? And did some people said, did Nick spoil the water by throwing that number out there? Because now, will a lot of players be looking for that $700,000? And if they can't get it at Stanford, or they can't get it at Arizona State, can they get it if they go down to play in Alabama?
Well, that's just SEC game for you, right? I mean, they are trying to establish the bar a little bit higher than those other schools, right? Trying to let people know that we don't play around down here.
This is big time.
That's why Texas and Oklahoma said, I don't really. Those guys know how to get down over there.
Yeah. So we'll see how things shake out, man. I want to get your thoughts on second-year head coach for the Watch. I know this is a sensitive subject for you, but let's see if we can get some objectivity from you here. It's not anything. It's not an affiliation with Steve Ballmer, but your Washington State University second-year head coach Nick Rolovich refused to get vaccinated. He was the only coach in the Pac-12 not at media day. He had to do his press conference by Zoom. And he said a few things. I think I sent you that video as well. He said a few things. I refuse to get vaccinated, although it's my personal decision. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to explain what my decision why I made the decision I made, but I refuse to get vaccinated. But yet he agrees with the terms that the state of Washington set forth. He agrees with what the University of Washington, Washington State University plan is for having the team vaccinated. He agrees with it, and he'll accept any penalty that comes his way because he's chose not to get vaccinated. My first question was, how is this a leader, dude? How are you a leader of men? How are you being a leader of a team that if your players are not vaccinated, they have a bigger risk of getting infected with the virus? If they're not vaccinated, they have a risk of losing games or missing games because the players are not vaccinated. They have to sit out with the protocol. Like, how is this? I just thought, like, I respectfully, I understand what you're saying about it being a private, a personal decision, and you not want to explain that. Okay, that's cool. I respect that. But how are you leaving? It's like you're doing double standard. Or I just like, how do you square that with your players? And then he danced around the answer. I don't know if you could understand the answer that he gave because he danced around it so long. I kind of lost train of thought before I asked him about the NIL. But what do you think about this guy, Nick Rolovich? And I think they're in for another few losing seasons. What do you think?
If I was the athletic director, I would make it a situation where it wasn't negotiable. It was a non-choice. You can't make the choice to not get vaccinated if you want to be the head coach of this football program. Hurts recruiting, hurts everything. Hurts the university, hurts alumni. Donations. I mean, the leader of your football team is being very careless with the health of the entire football team. So, yeah, I would fire him immediately.
I don't.
Actually, I wouldn't fire him. I would let him know that him getting vaccinated is not a choice if he wants to be the coach of this football
team. I understand.
There's plenty of other people in other walks of life, that you just can't say, no, I'm not going to get vaccinated. You surround too many people, I mean, to not be more, responsible.
And the way I put it is, people will look up to you. People value your opinion. People value your word. And now you're telling the players how can you tell the players in good conscience, go get vaccinated when you're not vaccinated yourself? How can you say you're all about winning and you want to put the organization in the right, have the focus and put them in the right direction when you're not getting vaccinated and you're letting everything, you're going to get sick, and the team, you're not going to be able to coach the team. And then that's all because of the decision you made. Now, I respect the decision you make, however, that you're hindering the growth of the team, or the growth of the organization, the growth of the program by not doing so. So I thought it was interesting. We can figure out how to play some of these press conferences back for you fans so you can hear them. But you can, if you go to my YouTube page, Voice of the Fans on YouTube, Nick Rolovich, his response is there for you to hear. And I thought this thought was hypocritical, and that was the first question I asked, and he danced around it on me before I can ask him about the NIL. But it's available on YouTube for you to hear. Cleveland, this Olympic bug, man, have you been bit by this Olympic bug at all?
Not so much, Cam.
Not watching any events? So
I usually like to wait till track and field and hoop gets a little further along.
Okay.
I've been watching a little bit of badminton, though. I do like badminton.
Yeah, okay. Everybody's Olympic a badminton player, aren't they? I mean, because I had some games in the backyards across the state of Washington where I was the baddest badminton player in the state there for a minute. We just didn't have a tournament to get into.
Lots of people feel that way about a lot of the events that are going on right now. Like I might just would have perfected that. I feel like it'd be Olympia quality at that. That's what the first week's about, right? And then the next week it's like, oh, okay.
Let's talk about Simone Biles, man. Simone Biles is getting crushed for bowing out of the Olympics. and then the team ended up losing to Russia by just a couple points. A couple points that if she had played or performed, she probably would have made up. Cleveland, this opens up a different subject. I'm not sure how much you and I have talked about this particular topic before, but I want to ask you a couple questions. The first question I want to ask you is, do you see this as quitting? Did Simone Biles quit on her team when she decided she couldn't continue her performance because she had mental challenges? She said her words, my mental was not there. Was that quitting on a team? Before you answer that, we saw Carrie Shruggs on a broken ankle, essentially, run down the line and do her exercise and end up winning the gold medal. As she was applauded by the country as Bella Crowley scooped her up, little 4-foot frame, and walked her to the side, walked her back to her team after she won the gold. A couple things with that. Carrie Shruggs later said that she performed out of fear rather than desire and willingness to go get that gold medal. She performed because she didn't want to. She was fearful what might happen to her if she didn't perform in that situation. Simone Biles, and she credited Simone Biles for bowing out and saying, "I can't perform. I don't want to perform in this situation because my mental's not great." My question to you, Cleveland, was that quitting on her team?
I don't think she quit on her team. I think that this is a narrative that we are going to see play itself out more often as we go forward.
Well, okay, if you don't call it quitting, what do you? I mean, we have to label this somehow.
What I call it is her putting herself and her mental health above all other things.
Okay, fair enough. I struggle with actually saying she quit on her squad. I mean, I don't know. I struggle with saying she quit on her squad. But Cleveland, I also struggle with this. And I'm not sure how much you and I have talked about this, or maybe we talked about it, but not on the show. And you could tell me, is this hypocritical? I don't have a problem going to a men's locker room and asking the men tough questions, asking the Clippers after they took an L tough questions, asking Paul George on a Zoom call, what happened tonight? Why weren't you guys able to muster up the energy or the urgency to win against Denver Nuggets when they were down, or when they were up two? What were they up against the Denver Nuggets when they lost? Not this year, but last year, they lost 3 in a row. After the second loss, after the third loss, Paul George, what happened? Why weren't you guys able to build up this urgency and knowing that you're down, knowing that now it's crunch time? Why weren't you guys still able to muster up this urgency? And we'll get better. He has to blah blah blah. His response wasn't important, but just being able to ask him that direct question, the question that needed to be asked in that situation, versus covering a WNBA game, the Sparks. I felt uncomfortable asking Candace Parker what happened tonight versus there was a difference there. There was a distinct difference. Not was it being in the ladies' locker room that I felt I was uncomfortable with the ladies with ice on their knees, their shoes, their toes out, and not fully dressed or they having their undergarments on, or however you want to classify it. Was that that was a hurdle that I mentally had to get over? It was a difference in the way I was addressing the ladies. Well, excuse me. It was not how I was dressing them. It was a difference in the environment of communicating with the ladies. Let me say that. I had no problem blasting Jay Cutler for him not performing against a Packers in the playoffs when he went to go ride the bike on the sideline. No problem blasting LT for standing on the sideline with the coat and his helmet on like he would, because he didn't go back in the game, knowing that a few plays earlier, Phillip Rivers also suffered a knee injury and he continued to play on this what was it before he had to get knee surgery in that offseason. No problem talking about Cam Newton when he wasn't giving his 100%, when the ball against the Carolina Panthers in the Super Bowl, when the ball was there for somebody to recover and Cam Newton was like, oh, I'm falling back. Oh, I'm not going to give no effort. I can't get it. And essentially turned it over to the Panthers. No problem talking and communicating how they didn't give 100% in those situations. Is that different? Well, it clearly is different. Men versus women. In these situations that I described, that was clearly, guys, I could say Cutler quit on his team. LT quit on his team. Ricky Williams, when he decided I'm not playing football a week before week 1 starts, I'm done. I'm not playing for the Dolphins no more. I'm done. I'm going to go travel the world and smoke weed. Like, he quit on the team. He quit. That's what it was. No, I love Ricky Williams. I love the Dolphins. Ricky was the baddest running back that Miami ever had, but he quit on the Dolphins. I'm not as quick to say that Simone Biles quit on the Olympic team. I'm not as quick to say that. Nor am I glorifying what she done by saying, "Oh, Simone Biles needs to be applauded for saying her."
Cam, this is not a male. This is not a male or female thing. You're having the same problem that everyone. I shouldn't say everyone. That a lot of people are having, and the problem is that you equate a physical injury to being more significant than a mental health issue. So if Simone Biles went out there and said, man, I blew my hamstring out and can't do it, you would feel differently than like, man, the pressures and the anxiety of all these things that I have to do and trying to perform at the highest level is getting to me and I just can't do it. You see those two things as two completely, totally different things. And so as I have heard the modern day athlete kind of try and bring it in perspective, it's to them, it equates as the same thing, but to you, it doesn't. You have a much easier time with someone saying, man, I tore my ACL, than man, my mind wasn't right and I just couldn't go out there and do it.
Well, yeah, clearly that's the case. But yes, clearly that's the case. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But my question is that cheat? Is that quitting? Is that quitting what she did? And I'm not as in a hurry to say
it's a hard question to ask, Cam, because the question is she didn't quit. She just said that in the same way she wasn't if she was I'm physically unable to perform, you would have been able to accept that. But because she said that she was mentally and emotionally not able to perform, it's much more difficult for you to accept that.
So my question, if I was able to ask a follow-up question, my question would be, when did this start? Were you able to because this isn't the first event that you performed in and had the same types of pressure on you. Like you've done this before. You've performed in Olympics and won Olympic gold medals in front of crowds who's screaming, cheering, or booing you. You've done this before. So when did this start? When did this? How did this come about? How did this happen? That's would probably be my follow up question. Um, and for anybody to say that, like, I don't know, I wasn't like everybody else when Paul George says, you know, I my mentality, or how do you put it? I wasn't mentally ready to play tonight. I'm not going to he's mentally weak and he's a chump and he's a punk because he addressed it like that. But my question would have been, Paul George, when did this actually start? Like, because again, this is something you've done for a large part of your life. The anxiety comes when you're not prepared, and by all accounts, you have to get to where you are. You have to be so 100% bought in, fully prepared ready to play. So when did this start? That would be my follow up question. And that would be my question. When did it start? Because you've done this before. That would be my follow up question. And I'd like to know that. I guess nobody has answered that question. And then, yeah, how do you get over that? But she is getting absolutely crushed by many media members. Many media members are blaming the social media aspect now. That's another thing. Is like, I clearly, when I performed in any athletic endeavor, social media wasn't present or available. But it's just like anything. When you go to school, or you picked up. I don't know about you, but we played picked up ball at lunchtime. I mean, those who were not playing, were apt to talk more crap than anybody else who was on the court playing with you. And not that you were playing to perform in front of those people, but you were prepared if you missed a shot, if you fail, if you dribbled it up off to your head and when it went out of bounds. Like, you're going to hear something from the peanut gallery, right? And you let that roll off your back, and then you go on and play the next day if that was something you wanted to do. Equate that to reading in the classroom, playing an instrument. If you had a solo, you had to be prepared and ready to play. So there was always that type of peanut gallery involvement that you had to address, but it was not like everything's on social media and you have 2 million people ready to comment on your misfortunes. Like, that is something different. I don't know. How would you address the mentality that of what you just elaborated on, being more accepting of the mental injury, or less accepting of the physical injury and more accepting of the mental injury? How do you address that?
No, I was saying that start to address the impact of the mental aspect as much as the physical, which is not easy to do. I can't say as I necessarily have an answer or a solution for what it is that you're saying, because I really don't, other than to understand that going forward, this probably is not going to be the last time that you hear it. And in the beginning, you'll start to think of weaknesses and just the inability to channel and focus, which is what I think a lot of people are feeling, and not being able to overcome the anxiety of the moment, which is what champions are made of in a lot of people's minds. And sometimes there are other factors that go into it. Like you say, very few people know what it's like for 30 million people to not like them or talk about them or say things that they, are unspeakable, really, by most people's standards. So I don't think this is the last time that we're going to hear it. I don't think that this is the last time that we're going to hear it on the stage of this magnitude. And I think I don't want to say it will become more commonplace, but as more top athletes,
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong in saying it won't become more commonplace. I think you're exactly right in that situation. That's an excuse that it's difficult to refute. If somebody who knows that, you used to go to, if you don't want to go to school, would you tell your parents, I got a stomach ache, I got a headache? Well, They can't really argue if they can argue
This
you
is
saying
this is a little bit different. I mean, and in
no,
addition, I mean,
it's not different.
let's
It's
also
not
understand.
different.
I mean, she's doing like gymnastics, and so like it is to like a centimeter off here or there. If you're not right, I mean, things could actually get pretty ugly for you.
I mean, that's what almost anything, Cleveland. I mean, if you're not playing, if you're not totally focused.
Okay, well then, Cam, you're already alluding to the fact that this is not an excuse or an explanation for you. So that's all that you have to say is that it's not an excuse or an explanation for you, and that she should have been able to perform, and that nothing that she's saying really is going to change anything.
No. That's not exactly what I was stating.
If she busted her hamstring, you'd be cool with it. If she just the pressures of the situation got to her, you're not cool with that. And that's 95% of the people.
No, what I was saying is we're going to hear more of that being an excuse for.
But see, that's what I'm saying. So you're still using it as excuse.
Okay, or reasoning. I mean, for lack of a better term, or reasoning.
Right.
We're gonna hear more of this.
So hamstring. That's not even a reason. That's just a diagnosis.
Yeah,
and you're okay with them not being able to perform because of that.
Well,
the situation is overwhelming you. You're not good with that.
Again, I'm looking at Cutler. I remember blasting Cutler. Cutler,
But that's not. But
you went. No, let me finish. He went to the sideline and said he couldn't perform because his leg was hurt. Went over to ride the bike. And in the playoff game, an NFC Championship game, he went over to ride his bike while his team is on the field suffering. Like, I wasn't cool with that. Or when LT had the helmet over his head, and he said something's not right. Whatever it was, he couldn't pinpoint it. His knee, his head, his something didn't feel right. He's standing on the sideline with his helmet on, like he's ready to go in, but he's not going in. Like, either play or don't play. Take your pads off or don't play. Those are physical injuries that, for whatever reason, they didn't want to continue on. What Simone Biles is saying that I couldn't continue because my mentals wasn't right. I'm not in a hurry to say that she quit on her team. I've said this. I'm not in a hurry to say she quit on her team. I'm not. But I told you what my follow-up question would be. Is like, when did it start? Because you've already proven to me that you can deal with the emotion, the anxiety. You can deal with the stress of the situation. You can deal with the moments. So when all of a sudden, when did it start? Where now I'm trying to cure the situation by saying, just let's talk about it. Let's take a deep breath and talk about, like, when did this start? Like, Simone, you've done this before. This isn't nothing new to you. You performed from high school arenas to college arenas to now on the world stage to the world qualifiers, now the World Olympics. You've done this before. So why all of a sudden now can't you do this? Help me out. That's my follow-up question as I try to encourage you to kind of move past this and get over the hurdle and get out there to perform. That's kind of what I'm looking at. But it's a difficult conversation. It's a difficult conversation, and I can just say, and I brought up my time with the WNBA versus the NBA situation as just a different approach that I personally have with women athletics versus men athletics. Like, I can't really pinpoint that. I struggle. I had this conversation with different people today, and I struggle with that. That's my mental challenge. My own personal mental challenge is going into a women's locker room versus a men's locker room. Like, I didn't know, like, how to handle that, and for all intents and purposes, I stopped covering the WNBA just because I didn't want to find myself in that situation. It was just an uncomfortable situation I didn't want to be in. Maybe I was making a little bit more money. I suck it up and go into the women's locker room. But because I didn't have to, I just did something I didn't do. And it was just a weird dynamic, just a weird situation that I was in. It's not like I'm looking at these women and gawking at these women, or it's not anything like that. It was just, I don't know. I'd rather see them pregame, postgame, and then have the conversation about the game then. But just being in the locker room 15 minutes after the game was just something weird to me. So that as you stated, is something that we're going to see a little bit more prevalently. This won't be the last time we have this conversation about mental anxiety, and I'd like to encourage anyone having mental challenges, man, to go seek help, talk to somebody, um, find a psychiatrist, find a therapist you could talk to, go seek assistance. Mental, that's really nothing to play with. And I'll share something with you, Cleveland, that I know I haven't shared on the show before. Is I've had my own bout with anxiety issues, mental challenges, um, and it's confident. It was really weird because I'm pretty confident in most scenarios I found myself in life, but there was times where I didn't consider harming myself, but I just didn't know how to handle the situation I was in. And the best way I can describe these moments were I wanted to peel my skin off. It's like it felt like my skin was burning, and if I peeled my skin off, maybe it was some relief there. Um, I didn't do that, but it was just something mentally I was going through, and that's the best way I could describe it. Is I really wanted to kind of get out of my skin, get out of my skin, and that's how I felt. Um, I was unable to sit and enjoy a football game. How I knew the situation was really bad was when the New York Jets was playing the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship game. I struggled to cook myself breakfast, go sit down on the couch, and watch the game. I couldn't sit on the. Couldn't get through the first quarter of the football game. That's how I knew it was really bad. Is if I'm not able to watch and sit down and enjoy AFC Championship game, the winner goes to the Super Bowl. That's a problem. I knew. All right, Cameron, there's something seriously going on, and you need to talk to somebody. And I had to find somebody to talk to. Oddly enough, I did end up going to a therapist who referred me to a psychiatrist who, within 30 minutes of me being in the psychiatrist's office, he offered me some prescription pills that I never got filled. And once he did that, I told myself on my way to the psychiatrist's office, and the office was in Beverly Hills, beautiful office in Beverly Hills, overlooked all of LA. I was like, I told myself, watch this guy offer me some kind of pills or some pills. And sure enough, within 30 minutes of me talking to him, okay, this is what he says. Okay, I got three prescriptions for you. Which would you rather have? Like, what? I'm not taking any pills because whatever was going on in my head. I'm not taking any pills. But when he offered me those pills, and I walked out of there with these three prescriptions, like, I'm not feeling it. I stuck them right in the little glove compartment of my car. I'm not feeling this shit. And the next morning I was better. I was able to sleep. I was able to just kind of clear my head. It was like I just wasn't feeling the prescription. I wasn't going to be a pill popper. And that's one thing I didn't want to become, somebody who's now addicted to taking these pills to mess with my brain. It was like, and it was that moment that I kind of clicked, kind of snapped out of whatever issue I was having. But I would encourage anybody to go get some assistance, talk to somebody. And I opened up to a few different people in my life. So that kind of helped me get through that. I would encourage anybody having any mental challenges not to ignore that and go get some assistance, Cleveland. Now, Cleveland, you need some assistance, because I shared with you a post from 10 years ago. 10 years, you've been telling me now for weeks, I've been giving you 90 seconds or 120 seconds to talk about your Seattle Mariners. I showed you, Cleveland, a post from 10 years ago where the guy was giving me the same argument that you've been giving me for the last 2 weeks. 10 years ago, was the post not from 10 years ago, Cleveland? First of all, let's make sure that people know I'm not making stuff up. Was a post from 10 years ago, Cleveland?
Post from 10 years ago.
I said the Seattle Mariners should be packed up and moved to Portland. I said this 10 years ago, did I not? Oh, no. What are you talking about, Cameron? The Mariners have been here. They're a legacy team. They've been here all my life, blah, blah, blah. Well, I enjoy going to the stadium. The baseball is America's pastime, and we enjoy eating the hot dogs and eating popcorn and peanuts and watching the game. 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out. We love it. Well, hell, there's a AAA team down the street. Then you guys can go watch them just as well. Get the Seattle Mariners the hell out of Seattle, because there's a bunch of bums. They haven't won anything. They haven't been to the playoffs in 20 years. They haven't won a playoff game in close to 25 years. Get these guys out of town. Okay? Pack them up, send them to Portland, let somebody else deal with them, because there's a bunch of bums. They haven't done anything. If you could not win with Nintendo's money, what makes you think they're going to be able to win, period, with anybody's money? Has Microsoft owned them yet? Has somebody from Microsoft had a piece of the Mariners? I don't know. I can't answer that.
No.
But I know that Nintendo, at the time Nintendo owned the Seattle Mariners, they were the most lucrative business in the world. And if the guys from the owners from Nintendo cannot do anything with the Seattle Mariners, they're a lost cause. The post I added you to, Cleveland, I thought was so interesting. 10 years ago, I had these same proclamations, and the guy's telling me how much he loves the team. Cleveland, what did he say? You don't see the vision. We're just a couple years away from being really good. Cleveland, that was 10 years ago, and you told me that same thing 2 weeks ago. Did you not? Or did you not tell me? You tried to tell me they're going to be 2.5 games out of 2.5 games out of the playoffs. Cleveland, and what happened? What did they do today? You let the people know. You tell the people what they did today. Not only did they miss out on Shohei Otani, that's one reason. Shohei Otani was able to identify these are a bunch of losers. Well, I want to go be associated with them. But what did they do today, Cleveland?
Cam, they made a very curious personnel decision in trading their top-tier closer, Mr. Graveman, to the Astros for some minor league players and some cash later. It definitely
explain the logic of this. Explain the logic.
I can't explain the logic of it, Cam. It hurt the chemistry of the team. The whole team was upset about it. Nobody trusts the organization. Nobody really knows what the general manager, Jerry Dipoto, was doing. What was his motivation behind it? Certainly, given the fact that they had already come back from 6 runs down to win the game against Houston Astros the first game, battled back from 6 runs down to make it a 2-run deficit last game, and then they go and they make this move, and the morale of the team is just down, man. I can't really put it into words, man. Last week I was ready to say they'll make the playoffs for the Miami Dolphins. Now, of course, I don't think Miami Dolphins going to make the playoffs this year, so that kind of gives me like 2 years really to make good on that. But now that they you see what they're made of, what their mindset is. I mean, just nobody's safe, man. Just never get too comfortable with what's going on around here, and you can't really speculate on what the direction of the team is when they're winning. Like game and a half out of the wild card spot, and you do something like that, it just shows you don't really have a commitment to winning, and then so the cycle just perpetuates itself.
So let me back up. And this is just a theory I'm throwing out there. I don't follow these bums. They're not worth following. They're worth packing the bags up and shipping the hell out of town. That's what I feel about the Mariners. I felt about the Mariners since the days I was going to watch them at the Kingdome. Anybody that they got was good. They end up on the California Angels or the LA Dodgers, and then the New York Yankees. So they were farm team for the Major League Baseball team. Why you want a farm team in the city of Seattle in prime real estate? They got a new stadium that's really nice to go to. They should just let high school players play in Safeco Field, or what do you call it now? T-Mobile Park or whatever it's called. They should let high school teams play in there. You get the same experience. You get the same experience. You can look at the views. You can eat your crickets, and then you can watch poor baseball. There's no different. It's no different. If you let Cleveland, Rainier Beach, O'Day, what is it? Kent Meridian, the Mariners, or you get no difference by letting these high school teams around the city play in this stadium because the experience is the exact same. So, but let me ask you this question. Similar to the trade when the Lakers traded Marc Gasol for Pau Gasol, was there some cronyism going on? Where did the Poto come from Houston? Was he part of the Houston organization?
Man, I don't know what his motivation was. Nobody knows, Cam.
I'm just
You're
trying to
read too much into the tea leaves, man. It's too early.
I'm just trying to figure
it's
something
too soon.
out.
It's too soon, okay? It's too soon.
Hey,
we don't know.
Don't get testy with me.
Then stop asking the question.
I told you to get rid of these Mariners years ago. My whole thing is
look, Cam, I don't know what the motivation was. You asked me to get into David Poto's head and try to explain what he did. I don't understand. I don't know.
This is your squad.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is your squad.
Okay, I know. And I don't know.
Man. So Shohei Otani, give us an update on Shohei Otani.
Yeah, he's doing good. Great. Good for him.
How many home
he's
runs
doing good. I don't know. I don't Google during the middle of the show like you.
You're Mr. Baseball, though. You should know what Shohei.
He's got a whole bunch, over 30, 30 plus.
36, 37.
He's doing great.
Is he the league MVP?
We'll see. They ain't voted yet.
Yeah, okay. Well, he got your vote, though, right?
Season's not over, so I don't know.
Look, you don't have to get all testy with me. We're trying to do a show. We're trying to give the fans.
We are doing a show. You asked me to already endorse Shohei Otani for MVP. So far, so good. He's having a good season so far. I don't know how the season's going to end up.
We need a little bit.
We'll see.
You can go a little deeper than so far, so good. I mean, if we're talking about Anthony Davis, who hasn't been healthy in 7 seasons, you can tell me how great he's going to be next season.
Anthony Davis is an NBA champion. Shohei Otani hasn't won nothing yet, so.
Well, it's not like Anthony Davis led them to the championship. So
okay, well, he isn't.
Let's not get
carried away. Did that change my statement? He's still an NBA champion, right?
Let's not get carried away.
Cool.
Fans, reach out to Cleveland. Maybe you guys can get an answer out of Cleveland on what's happening with this with these Seattle Mariners and give them your feedback. As what should the Mariners stay in Seattle or should they be packed up and shipped off to Portland, Oregon? Or maybe Eugene might be a better town where nobody is. They're the only thing in town and nobody pay any attention to them down there in Eugene. But they're wasting up valuable property in Seattle. In the Soto district, they're wasting up valuable property there. I say the city of Seattle should ship them out. And hell, again, we'll get nothing different if we let the University of Washington Huskies play in that stadium, if we let Seattle U play in that stadium, if we let the Cleveland Indians play in that stadium, if we let the O'Day Fighting Irish, hell, we can let Mercer Island play over there. Any of these baseball teams from any league around Metro, AAA, 4A, Single A, we'll get the same exact production as the Seattle Mariners. So let Cleveland know what's your Twitter handle? I know he's getting all sensitive on me. He's getting all sensitive on me, fans, just because he knows I'm right. What's your Twitter handle?
My Twitter handle is @CleveyWonder. Instagram is Cleveland Steel. Let
Cleveland Steel know what these Seattle Mariners where they should go. Okay. You can find me at copy me too. You can find me at What's Good in Sport. That's What's Good, the letter N, Sport singular, or Voice of Fans on Instagram. So that's What's Good in Sport on Twitter, Voice of Fans on Instagram. Let us know what you think of the show. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. We got a lot of things happening, folks. Football season is around the corner. No more fantasy talk, but we got to get this fantasy league underway. Next week we'll have a breakdown of what is going to be the AFC North, I guess it'll be next week. So we'll talk about that next week. Fans, look forward to the NBA draft coming up tomorrow. We can talk about that next week as well. Cleveland, thank you for your participation. Let me leave you guys with this quote. Let me leave you with this one quote, Cleveland, from Mr. Joe Namath. And we know, after you hear this quote, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not going all the way, why go at all? If you're not going all the way, why go at all? Mr. Namath, and I think he said this to was a sideline reporter for ESPN after he had a few adult beverages. Susie
Wow.
Colbert.
You're trying to bring Susie Culver into the conversation.
Joe was trying
That's
to go
cold-blooded.
Joe was trying to go all the way. But in all seriousness, Joe says, if you're not going all the way, why go at all? And that's what I'm saying about these Mariners. It's been years and years and years and years and years about these guys not doing anything.
See, I see what you're doing, man. You're sticking your finger in the bullet hole, man. But if the Mariners don't die, man, they're coming back with a vengeance.
Don't die, they're dead. What are you talking about? They're dead. The Mariners,
if somehow they make it through all these trials and tribulations and these terms of endearment and somehow get to the playoffs, man.
They have been never was. The best thing, you said it right. It's nice to go to the ballpark. That's what you said. I enjoy going to the ballpark. That's what you already said. You made that clear. You don't care to see the talent on the field. And that's why I say any team, any high school team, they should have Franklin, Garfield.
I'm done with your Mariner bashing. I'm done with your Mariner bashing, man.
Blanchett could go
not taking any more.
Roosevelt,
not listening to any more of what you're saying. You're just talking. I'm not listening to any more that you're saying.
Any of those baseball.
There's nothing more that you can say. I'm not listening to any more of your talk.
I'm just saying, man. You're going to get the same talent.
Okay, look, man. Like I said, I'm not listening to any more of your talk.
It's okay, fam. Once again, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. And as always, fam, thank you for making our voice your choice. Clean Vaughn, have a good one, man.
Have a good night, bro.
Talk to you.